since 1978. They offer a full range of architectural products, and they're armed with the knowledge and expertise to get even the most demanding job done, big or small. Attention to detail, 24-hour replacement services, and their uncompromising commitment to excellence is why Montgomery's first choice for all things glass is Independent Glass. Call them today at 263-2823 and learn more about what they can do for you at independentglassco.com.
Whoa. More fiber?
What?
Down here, buddy. It's me, your spoon. Constipation with belly pain still coming back?
Yeah.
Talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, but Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
What the hell are we doing here?
We are behaving the way a superpower ought to behave.
Well, our behavior has produced some crappy results.
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. Beautiful day here out of Montgomery, Alabama. Thanks for tuning in. And unless you're already in the middle of it, whether it's a civilian victim or maybe you're the one firing off the rockets, when it comes to what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on between Israel and Iran, the vast majority of us, are spectators. And as long as there have been wars, there have been spectators watching reflections of their projections onto the mayhem and havoc. For instance, think of the first land battle of the bloodiest war in American history. Depending on one's perspective, one side, this inaugural clash would come to be called by completely different names, as with the whole bloody war. Some call this first battle Manassas, others Bull Run. There are many other names, the Great Skedaddle, I was just told, but there's also yet another. I want to redirect. This is from the Senate Historical Office. You can go to senate.gov and find this. But on the morning of July 21st, 1861, civilians from Washington rode out to Centerville, Virginia, to watch a Union army made up of very green recruits, they signed up for a 90-day war, march boldly into combat. Men, women, and even children came to witness the predicted Union victory, bringing along picnic baskets and opera glasses. Ooh, ooh. That's what I think of when somebody puts opera glasses up to their eyes. Oh, I can see it. Oh, look at the bombs. Bull Run soon became known as the Picnic Battle. Among the civilian ranks were some of Congress's most powerful senators, many of whom had called for just such a campaign. They quickly learned that war can be unpredictable. The Union Army performed well that morning, but by early afternoon, the Confederates had brought in reinforcements, forcing an intense battle over a space known as Henry Hill. When Union generals finally called retreat around 4 p.m., the frightened soldiers fled for their lives, I saw the 12th New York Regiment rush pell-mell out of the wood, comment one reporter. Soldiers threw down their weapons and ran from the battlefield, sweeping up civilians in the retreat. Near the battlefield, a group of senators was eating lunch. They heard a loud noise and looked around to see the road filled with soldiers, horses, and wagons, all heading in the wrong direction. Turn back, we're whipped, Union soldiers cried as they ran past the spectators. Startled Michigan Senator Zachariah Chandler tried to block the road to stop the retreat. Senator Ben Wade of Ohio, sensing a disastrous defeat, picked up a discarded rifle and threatened to shoot any soldier who ran, while Senator Henry Wilson distributed sandwiches. A Confederate shell destroyed his buggy, forcing him to escape on a stray mule. Iowa Senator James Grimes barely avoided capture and vowed never to go near another battlefield. Senators returned to Washington with gloomy faces, one reporter noted, where they delivered eyewitness accounts to a stunned President Lincoln. Only one member of Congress, New York Representative Alfred Ely, made it to Richmond that day as a prisoner of war. The Union Army's defeat at Bull Run shocked and sobered members of Congress, making it painfully clear that the war would last much longer than 90 days and be harder fought than anyone had expected. It certainly would be no picnic. Now, one need not much know history or be much of a history buff, let alone a trained historian, to surmise that different names sticking to the very same conflict is a phenomenon found riddled throughout the history of the art of war. A phenomenon clearly true of the wars between modern-day Israel and the Muslim world. Recall what Israel calls their War of Independence in 1948. The Muslim world calls the Nakba, meaning the catastrophe. Same war, same multifaceted mirror, different reflections from different projections and perspectives. Now, as I sit here with my own aloof perspective here in this humble perch of this radio studio in Montgomery, Alabama, and witness the fast then slow flow of the headlines and videos coming out of Persia and the Holy Land, I wonder how many names will eventually be given to this latest war between Israel and Iran. No doubt, it is much too early to know with any sort of certainty what those names might be. But if the fighting carries on for too long, it may very well trip more belligerents into the fray, into what some doomsayers and anti-war spectators, libertarians included, are already squawking about as World War III. Again, it is much too early to tell if these World War III worrywarts will be proven wise. Let us hope they are fools. But I suspect it would be even more foolish to treat this thing, this war, like a picnic. Better to be a worrywart than a picnic spectator over war, I suppose. Alas, some U.S. senators haven't seemed to learn the lessons of their own body's history. I can particularly picture Lindsey Graham with his opera glasses handing out sandwiches or something like that to his fellow cocksure senatorial colleagues saying, "Game on," as the Israeli bombs started to fall on Iran. At least the senator and his friends had the decency to call for prayers, too, though they were not necessarily prayers for peace. Indeed, as a mere spectator to this latest war, yet another war, I would much rather project prayers of peace onto that scene than encourage a picture of carnage to be reflected back on me. I'll leave it to the belligerents to pray for victory, and for the God of Abraham to answer accordingly. Welcome into the program. And as you look at the headlines today, as you look at the videos being shared all over social media, the back and forth continues. Iran has launched approximately 350 ballistic missiles. 24 Israeli citizens have been killed. But it is over 200 dead when you count those on the Iranian side. Netanyahu over the weekend, exclusive interview with Fox News, saying Iran could see regime change due to Israeli attacks. Netanyahu being a bit coy about whether that's their ultimate goal. You had an Israeli national security advisor saying to the Wall Street Journal Trump did not veto assassination of the Ayatollah Khomeini. You also have the Wall Street Journal giving an inside look into how Israel's Mossad smuggled drones and themselves into Iran. We'll get into that in more detail a little later. Wall Street Journal also saying that desperate Iran, quote unquote, urgently seeks negotiations with Israel and U.S. In particular, it seems Iran should be afraid of bunker busters, though it doesn't seem Iran is willing to make any new concessions in nuclear talks, more promising flexibility. We'll get into the details of that, while the Iranian parliament threatens to leave the International Nuclear Weapons Treaty. That would be the greatest irony of this. That in the hopes of stopping Iran's nuclear ambitions, that many say they don't have, but well, I'll put it this way. They've had a latent deterrent. They've had a ability to master the fuel cycle. So they're using their enrichment capability as a sort of nuclear deterrent. But in hopes of getting rid of that, say, mastery of the enrichment cycle, getting rid of any nuclear program, and according to the Israelis, getting rid of a last-ditch, last-second attempt by the Iranians to put together some sort of bomb to give to their proxies, calling it global nuclear terrorism. You can believe that or not if you wish. But wouldn't it be ironic that in hopes of stopping Iran to get the nuke with these attacks, the Iranians then rush to a nuke, with the Iranian parliament again threatening to leave International Nuclear Weapons Treaty. But there are many reports that Iran is calling up their partners in the Gulf, especially the Qataris, to get Trump to call off Israel. You have some saying that Iranian citizens, well, the rulers there at least, didn't build any shelters for airstrikes because of a culture of martyrdom. I think that culture is shared by a few, the rulers, maybe the most devout in their particular way. But when you see all the people trying to leave Tehran, Israel is giving fair warning, we're going to strike, you better evacuate. You're seeing a lot of people leave that capital city. And, you know, maybe you're in the camp that hasn't seen much about Iran. Beautiful thing about this day and age also adds to the tragedy is there are a lot of great videos. People that have been in Iran, shown the country. It is a booming, bustling city in many ways. A beautiful culture in many ways, in my humble opinion, being held hostage by an awful group. And as people flee, you can see that maybe the culture of martyrdom isn't shared by the population, only by those that wish for others to be martyrs as they rule over the country. So the back and forth continues. The question of what will the president do next is heavy on certain people's minds. In particular, Tucker Carlson sat down with, of all people, Sloppy Steve, sat down with Steve Bannon on his War Room show. And they were going into all the ins and outs of how this could go so wrong for Trump and his administration. That if Trump jumps into this war, so far the United States has not been directly involved. Obviously, there's been intelligence sharing. Obviously, the United States didn't stand in the way of these strikes by Israel. But the United States has not used those B-2s that are in the region. They're not directly involved. But Carlson, this morning, I'll play the clip a little later, was wondering, would it have the same effect as George W. Bush? You know, George W. Bush had other plans besides the war in Iraq and the war on terror. He had a lot of things he wanted to be remembered for. He had a legacy in mind. And yet that war, Iraq, for better or for worse, defines the presidency of George W. Bush. And given war, the violence of war in particular tends to sing its own song and inflame the passions and drive to more and more escalation. Could the United States jumping into this get the Trump administration off track? Off track from resetting trade relations, off track from not only stemming the tide of immigration, but continuing with deportations, especially of the worst, while we consider what might be next for the rest. Off track from the Make America Healthy Again promises of RFK Jr. and what HHS are up to. Off track for making this country a country for the working class, for middle America. A war could do just that. Get us off track and define Trump's legacy in a way, like a millstone around his neck. But Trump seems to be playing it slow. And honestly, you can't believe everything you read. Certainly not online and certainly not in the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times. But it's the information we have. We'll see what's next. Trump today at the G7 in Canada, answering a few questions there. We can get to that in just a second. But Trump also doubling down after this big celebration of the 250th anniversary, the 250th birthday of the United States Army. Didn't rain. I watched a few minutes of it. I'm an Air Force guy, if anything. My grandfather's an Air Force veteran, former Air Force lieutenant colonel, but it was cool, some of the images I saw. And in particular, I focused in on one thing that Vice President J.D. Vance said at that get-together. It might play very well into the discussion about Iran and Israel and what role the United States will play going forward. In fact, let's go to that. Let's go to Vice President Vance. It's a very short clip here, laying out the case for how America's military might, in particular, our most valuable weapon should be used. That is, the men and women who put their lives on the line, put their lives on hold, make their lives this call to service. How should that asset, how should those people that this country is supposed to be all about be treated in questions of war by our elected leaders, by the so-called politicians? Let's listen in to Vice President Vance. This is what he had to say over the weekend.
And so to our soldiers, we're so proud of you. And let me tell you that the way that we honor and respect you is, number one, we never ask you to go to war unless you absolutely have to. And number two, when we do ask you to go to war, we give you the weapons and the support needed to kick the hell out of the enemy and come back home safely.
Unless we absolutely have to. That's the question right now. Not that we'll be sending army battalions to Iran, but the Navy is getting closer and closer to the region. 2 or 3 carrier groups, I believe, now in the region. It was reported a month or two ago that there are already B-2s moving into, say, striking range, into the area. So the question won't be, say, so-called boots on the ground, but it will still be sailors, airmen. And given, well, you might want some men on the ground, you could have, say, unofficial boots there as well. And so the question facing Trump is not only about his political legacy, Not only how he keeps this coalition together and moves forward, you saw cracks in it with the whole Elon dust up. Though Elon and Trump seem to be a little more chummy these days. After Elon admits, yeah, it kind of happens. I go demon mode sometimes, man. But I like that standard that J.D. Vance lays out. That should be the guiding principle. Any decision the President of the United States makes on questions of war. Do we absolutely have to? And that's the rub. Because when you listen to the folks that have never seen a war they didn't like, never seen a war they didn't want somebody else to fight, we always have to, right? It's always sold as an absolute, utter necessity. At least in this day and age, whether or not the president makes whatever decision, there's at least some conversation and some pushback from the wretched propaganda and communications control of years gone by. At least now Americans can feast on information that isn't just force-fed to them by corporate media. At least now we can have a discussion on whether or not we absolutely have to. Just make sure, is that exactly what I said? Let me hear that again. Vice President?
The way that we honor and respect you is, number one, we never ask you to go to war unless you absolutely have to. And number two, when we do ask you to go to war, we give you the weapons and the support needed to kick the hell out of the enemy and come back home safely.
Well, we got the weapons. There's no doubt about that. In fact, that's exactly what the Israelis would love for us to use, those bunker busters. The question is, do we absolutely have to? And just like those senators at the outset of the war between the states, the Civil War, War of Northern Aggression, I don't know, take your pick of whatever you want to call it. Just like those Union senators at the beginning of the Civil War, who expected what? At most a 90-day campaign, a swift victory there, onward to Richmond, will put down this rebellion. Just like they were surprised, along with the women and children and the rest of the Union Army that had to flee. Let's not kid ourselves that this is going to be a picnic going forward. Whether or not the United States decides to start to burrow deep into the ground in Iran. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. I would love to hear your take on this. I will have to say, if we're talking being spectators of this, and again, thank God most of us are, we're not participants, we're not belligerents. But when you're talking spectators, I have to say the best view of this war I've noticed so far was on a rooftop, I believe in Lebanon, where people were having a party after a wedding. Music blaring, bass pumping, kick and snare interlocked, everybody dressed to the nines, having a good time. And there's one guy with his button-up shirt button way too low for my liking. I don't like that at all. Playing a saxophone as Iranian ballistic missiles flew overhead in the atmosphere. That beats watching Civil War era war with opera glasses, I'll tell you what. It's a strange time because you can see things you can't unsee if you're perusing through X or anywhere else for videos of the carnage and the destruction. And then the next second, as you switch over to another video, you scroll up or scroll to the side. Oh, there's a golden retriever cuddling up next to a cute little kitten. What a strange world indeed we live in. And again, 272-9228 if you want to share your perspective as a spectator in this war. Of course, we will get to Trump also addressing the illegal immigration matters. We also have news that Joey Chestnut is going to be back at the hot dog eating contest on the 4th of July. He made some deal. Scientists detect mysterious radio waves coming from beneath Antarctica's ice. And some guy's got a new hobby, an odd one by my standards, where he goes and applies to jobs, does interviews with no intention of taking any of the jobs. Would you believe that a lot of these people want to hire him? He's so daggum relaxed. Makes us like him. The ambivalence plays. Again, 272-9228. First, before I hit this break, this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're at Pest Pro. Ashley and that fantastic team are ready to help you out with any and all of your pest control needs. It could be basic pest control protection. It could be termite protection and annual inspection there. And of course, 'tis the season for those nasty, nasty mosquitoes, or maybe you want to treat your yard for ticks, especially if you got big dogs that like to hang out outside. You don't want them trekking those ticks back in there. That's how you get a nasty infestation. That's not good for them, not good for you. So if you're looking to get rid of those mosquitoes, if you're looking to make your yard tick-free, if you're looking for that basic pest control protection, as well as termite inspection, call up Pest Pro Services today and just get to know these folks. They're great, easy to work with. They get you on a regular schedule. They have a monthly subscription model now that makes a heck of a lot of sense. You can always learn more at ppsriverregion.com or search for Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. They have a very active Facebook page. But you can always call them direct at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Recently, I met with 3 different owners of homes who had the same problem. They wanted to sell their house quick and sell it as is for cash. All 3 people were approached by different investors that said they had cash for their home, signed contracts, only to find out they were not personally going to buy their homes, but to find a buyer willing to pay more than they offered and pocket the difference. It's called wholesaling. Offer a contract to buy a house at a certain price, up the price to other buyers, and pocket the difference. I urge you, don't fall for it. You want to sell your home quick, use a licensed professional realtor, as I have been for 48 years, keeping promises to get homes sold quick. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883.
Here at Adams Drugs, we let our customers do the talking. I'm here with Ronnie Taunton, who was a longtime customer of Adams Drugs, moved away for 3 years, and came back to town recently. Ronnie, what did you do for another pharmacy when you moved out of town?
When we moved to Fairhope, we were looking for a local. We did not want to go to a big box store. And we did find one, but the service was not up to par. Adams Drug really spoiled us.
What was it like to come back to Adams Drugs again?
It was very easy. We picked up the phone when we got back, came up to Prattville and called the branch there in Prattville, and they took that phone call and did the rest of it. We didn't have to do a thing. It was very simple. We're glad to be back with them. They're so efficient and customer service oriented.
Come in to any of our 12 Adams Drugs locations. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net to find the location nearest you. Adams Drugs is your independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This is David Ernest from the Health and Wealth Show. We like to cut up and have fun, maybe poke a little fun at some politicians. but we don't take ourselves too seriously. One thing we do take seriously is your personal finances and your plans for retirement. You can tell by listening, we're a little different. Yeah, we like to have a good time on the radio, but we're dead serious about your financial future and helping you achieve your goals. At Ernest Financial, we're committed to giving you the attention you need. We don't treat you like a number. You're way more important to us. At Ernest Financial, it's about helping you today and preparing you for tomorrow. People call us who are on the verge of retirement, and they know they need a plan for the future. No matter where you are in life, Ernest Financial will help guide your every step towards retirement. Give us a call and let us show you what our individual customer attention can do for your future.
Concerned about your retirement? Call David Ernest toll-free at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Leaders of some of the world's biggest economic powers are gathered in the Canadian Rockies for a Group of Seven summit. Trade expected to be high on the agenda, along with the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran and Russia's war in Ukraine. Millions of Americans are seeing their credit scores suffer now that the federal government has resumed referring missed student loan payments for debt collection. After 90 days of non-payment, student loan servicers report delinquent accounts to major credit bureaus, which use the information to recalculate the borrower's credit score. The Trump administration is directing immigration officers to pause arrests at farms, restaurants, and hotels after President Trump voiced alarm about the impact of aggressive enforcement on business operations. Wall Street opened higher this morning. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Our very unsettled and occasionally wet and stormy weather pattern rolls on as this new week begins. For today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, a sun and cloud mix, hot and humid again, with rounds of showers and thunderstorms that'll be most concentrated in the afternoon and evening hours with those local heavy downpours, lots of lightning, high temperatures each day, 90 to 92, lows at night in the lower 70s. Not much change Thursday and Friday, still a better than normal probability of showers and thunderstorms, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations. Since we began in 1906, at CB&S Bank, we're here for you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Now, as a spectator, this is another amazing piece of video footage coming out of this war. This is, well, it doesn't take much to guess it. This is Iranian state TV. Their state broadcaster, IRIB, in Tehran. And there's some woman on there saying stuff, and then this happens. Let's listen and watch together.
صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلوده استادیوم.
Damn. So while they're live broadcasting, all of a sudden you just hear that massive explosion. That is literally a bomb hitting the building. The screens go out. You can start to see debris falling. And Israel put out a message saying after they struck the headquarters of Iran state broadcaster, Israel Katz, the defense minister there in Israel, issued this blunt statement, quote, "The Iranian regime's propaganda and incitement broadcasting authority was attacked by Israel after a widespread evacuation of residents in the area. We will defeat the Iranian dictator everywhere." The strike followed evacuation warnings in District 3 of Tehran and caused significant damage to Iran's central media apparatus. With this operation, Israel isn't just going after missiles, it's hitting the regime's message machine head on. While Iran, about an hour ago also, after this attack, is threatening the largest and most violent missile attack in history on Israeli territory. No exact timeline to that. So the back and forth continues. But earlier today, if we want to think about what is the president actually going to do, while Trump was standing there next to Mark Carney, the Canadian prime minister, he's asked about, well, what's next? I mean, what's going on with this war? What are you going to do about it, Mr. President? Let's listen in to that right here.
Have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Yeah.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Well, that's ominous, ain't it? Oh, by the way, Netanyahu is going to be doing an interview with Iranian International. It's a London-based group that has long been for regime change. So this obviously doesn't seem to be about just the nukes. This is about running the Ayatollah and everybody around him out of power. Will it work? Again, we'll have to see. If they manage to pull this off in a fast pace, it will be amazing. My sensibilities tell me this ain't going to be a picnic, though. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, moving on to Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon. You know, when these two get together, it's like, oh, man, look at the MAGA right getting going here. But this is their conversation about Trump and what Trump might do and what Israel is up to with these strikes. Let's listen in to what the MAGA commentators have to say.
And the incentives to pull the U.S. in are so profound. I guess if I could just say one political thing, the watching Donald Trump, who of course you know very well, who I think at core is sincere about peace. I mean,
big time.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Big time. I mean, that's real. Watching him done so wrong, the lies. Oh, he knew all along. You know, the peace process was fake. Steve Witkoff was playing along. That is a lie. That's a lie. I know. That's a lie. Those guys meant it.
Bald-faced lie.
It's a total lie. And all these people that Mark Levin and all of the minions who are running cover for a foreign government, they're all telling that same lie. And I feel for President Trump, and I think, I don't know this, I'm just guessing, but at this point, I feel like he just has to kind of roll with it. You know, what do you say? You don't want to get in an argument about that right in the middle of a war.
No, I think he reiterated last night that we got to get back to the peace part. They got to lay down the guns.
They're lying about him. He sincerely, even now, he sincerely believes, whether he's right or not, I can't say, but that this could be a predicate to a peace deal, what we're seeing now. He really thinks that and wants that. And the other side is just like, no, a peace deal is immoral.
It's the other side, but the other side also has the apparatus here. This is what happened
in the
Ukraine,
U.S.
when Ukraine attacked.
Yes.
When Ukraine attacked, we still haven't asked Ratcliffe, was the CIA involved? That there's zero probability Ukraine could attack that deep into Russia without some involvement. Here, the exact same thing. Why was Tulsi Gabbard not invited to the Camp David meeting all day?
You know why?
Why Tulsi Gabbard still to the American public has said the last public statement is that the program was not back up and running, and now we have from Bibi by himself
on Fox by Brent Baer that the thing was 12 to 13 months away. It wasn't this weekend.
I know.
And this is by his own thing. And we also know that it was a decapitation, as we said on Friday. It wasn't just about the nuclear program. Nope. It's a decapitation of total leadership. So this is a total regime change, which, by the way, you may have a plan for regime change, is fine, but you got to bring the American people along. Let me go back.
By the way, I said that publicly last week. This is the point of this is regime change. I know everyone involved. I know I'm telling the truth. I have no weird motive here at all. I don't hate Israel. I'm not.
Plus, you know the players, and you went
know
and
the
you,
players
and you were,
personally.
and you know the Iraq situation.
This isn't a regime change effort, and why not just say that? But you're a Holocaust denier for saying that. Well, stop. Let's have a rational conversation about what our aims are here. And maybe you can convince me that we need to support a regime change war in Iran. Tell me how that plays out in a country of 90 million people. Have you thought it through? Do you even care? And the answer is no. We have a economic and political and demographic crisis in Europe because of U.S.-backed, Israel-backed
Syria
wars in the Middle East.
Yeah.
That's what's destroyed Europe, where my ancestors came from. And I spend a lot of time there, and I love European culture, which is Christian culture. And it's destroyed that. And shut up, you're not allowed to care. Who's making the rules here?
Indeed. And it is amazing to see the folks that were wrong about so much and how well so much would work out. Whether in Iraq or Libya or Syria, things are going just peachy in Ukraine, right? It is a bit much. And I think that take from Tucker and Bannon, especially Tucker saying, I know Witkoff, I know these players personally, the idea that Trump was essentially giving cover for a surprise attack is nonsense. They actually were trying to engage in peace. And it does seem plain as day, especially from all the news headlines being thrown out there, that certain players are trying to implicate and rope in the president of the United States into this decision by Israel. And by roping him into it, forcing his hand to make a decision to actually start dropping the bunker busters. Again, this is one of the big fault lines in the MAGA coalition. And I think it would be a shame to have a war that nobody can really see what's ahead in the next several months. Because the longer this thing drags out, the worse it might potentially get. So we'll wait. I'm sure more will come in during the very show we're holding right now. But honestly, I would like my country, maybe you can be a well-wisher, I would like my country to stay out of it. 272-9228. Again, if you want to get in on the conversation, that's 334-272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And if you're a guy, if you're a fella, and you just don't feel like yourself, like you don't even really feel like a man, you just feel like a sad meat suit that barely can get through the day without getting really sleepy and tired and mentally exhausted, and you lay down for 8 hours last night, you rested your head on your pillow, but it's not like you're sleeping well. You wake up exhausted, you're putting on one unwanted weight gain, you're losing muscle mass, and you're never in the mood. You got no libido, no sex drive, no life force to speak of. Well, if you're experiencing all this at the same time, this confluence of symptoms very well could be low testosterone, especially if you're a guy hitting his 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're noticing this and you're kind of haunted by past memories of your younger self where you go all day, all night without any worry. Well, get by there. This happens naturally to guys as they get older, but even guys in their 20s and 30s. If you're feeling this way, you need to go get it checked out at Montgomery Men's Health, and the providers there will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And if you do, in fact, have low T, they have treatments there that can truly change men's lives, including making you feel better the very same day. After treatment, men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, brother, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, and an increased libido. So y'all Call them up today. Make an appointment right now. 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or you can always go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, this is Danny with High Caliber Gun and Pawn. November, we'll be celebrating 10 years of doing business in the river region, and Blue Water Broadcasting has been an integral part of that 10 years. High Caliber Gun and Pawn, we say we are a step above the rest, and Blue Water Broadcasting definitely is that step.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home. From troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Austin Barenko with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing today?
Having a great Monday, Joey. How are you?
Oh, sailing through the day. My dad's actually in town, so I'm doing a late Father's Day steak dinner for him and my grandfather. Looking forward to that tonight.
Oh, fun. That'll be good.
Yeah, I can't cook much, but I know how to cook a mean steak on the stovetop.
I think every man should know how to cook a steak, so I'm glad you do know how.
Yeah, that's like the only thing. I know how to order things other than that. Now, of course, the top news continues to be this war between Israel and Iran. I know there were some oil facilities hit by the Israelis. I think Netanyahu said it was just containers. It wasn't the actual, say, processing and refineries. But, I mean, as you're seeing this, how's this affecting markets? How could it affect markets?
Yeah, so like we talked about last week, we had a sharp spike in oil prices, almost getting back to the January highs. You know, oil price per barrel has been consistently coming down since January, but we spiked all the way back up. And then over the weekend, it looks like a couple of things happened to bring prices back in line to a reasonable area, somewhere in like $60, $63 a barrel range, depending on the market you're buying in. One of those items is it does look like there was an agreement reached in some capacity to not hit the oil refineries or drilling areas in Iran. Another one was an agreement to continue to allow shipment through the Strait of Hormuz, which is accounts for about 1/5 of the world's oil consumption. So, I mean, if that was fair game and that gets hit in kind of like a tactical missile strike, or they prevent transportation of oil, you're talking about a 20% gap in supply, which would spike the price of oil aggressively. But both of those things are off of the table. The prices have stabilized, which we were looking for. Another thing I found interesting, I'm not a war tactical expert, but one thing I found interesting was OPEC, made up primarily of Middle Eastern and African nations, and there are two, I think, in South America, but the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries have this agreement, and they have been limiting production to maintain a certain price per barrel. That's their goal, is to kind of stabilize prices. Well, last month, they produced about 400,000 more barrels of oil than is their standard operation. So it's kind of got me scratching my head. Were there some, folks involved at the highest level on the international stage, particularly in oil production, that anticipated destabilization in, the main oil region? And because there were additional barrels produced last month, there's not a huge loss of supply. So where traditionally in the past, when you see wars like this break out or just brief periods of destabilization, oil prices spike, but it's been pretty contained. So for the average consumer, I don't expect prices at the pump to be affected too much. As for an investor like us, you know, I don't like speculative plays, and I don't think that we're going to make a ton of speculation in the oil space, but it has been a very swift reversion back to the mean price per barrel of oil. So it's just interesting to watch. It's very sad what's going on over there. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert in, you know, these types of global wars, and I'm hoping that there's some discussions at the G7 summit this week that, you know, maybe can align our interest with, you know, the countries over there, mainly to prevent, you know, death of human beings. And I'm not caring which way you lean politically necessary, but I mean, a life is a life, and war is bad. So anyway, that's my take on what's going on with oil.
Well, I appreciate that. So far, so good. And it is nice for the time being that cooler heads seem to be prevailing, despite they're actually firing pretty big old missiles at one another. Now, before I let you go, let's tell folks about Invista Advisors, because I don't want people leaving from this call, listen to our call, thinking you just look at the investment side. That's a big part of it, when you definitely are doing that. But there's a whole team there that can help put together bespoke or customize, say, financial plans for long-term financial planning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd just like to take the listener through kind of a brief description of what it would be like if you were to engage our firm. You know, you walk through the front door, and the first thing we're going to do is sit you down in the conference room and kind of rifle off a few questions about your personal life, your expenses, your income, your assets, your liabilities, your goals and aspirations. And based on how you answer those questions, we will begin a very rough outline of a financial plan, and then we'll get very granular and break that plan out into annual cash flow. And then we will project that annual cash flow out through, first of all, retirement at a minimum, and then usually out to death. You know, it's morbid to talk about, but you need a plan in place for when you're gone. So if you're leaving behind any dependents, how to take care of them. And it's not just retirement and death, you know, planning for those two things. It's also planning for goals that you have. Many of our clients come in with the goal of getting their kids through college, or maybe buying a second home at the lake or the beach or the mountains, or, you know, goals like this. And so we will cash flow out in a very detailed manner. You know, every dollar that you earn, invest, every dollar that you spend, every asset or liability that you pay down on an annual basis, all the way up until you achieve these goals. So you can actually see it, we'll quantify it, and then we will meet ongoing, a minimum of once a year, sometimes more frequently, depending on your needs, to help you stay in line and achieve these goals. You know, if you're overspending, we'll kind of give you a slap on the wrist. Hey, it's your money, do what you want. But if you want to achieve these goals we've set out, you can't do that. And so I'm here to tell you that you're overspending, take my word or not. You know, it's your life. We're here to map it out. But that's the type of planning I don't think a ton of, you know, other professionals in the space really provide. And that's what we lead with. And so when you walk away with that plan and an ongoing relationship with us, helping you navigate within the goals that you've set, we're seeing, you know, great outcomes for people that can, you know, have some self-control and follow the plan. And then, of course, like you said, no plan is, you know, complete without, you know, proper investment strategy. And we, of course, have a very good team of investors here that sit on a committee that we, you know, review these micro and macroeconomic trends weekly to make sure that the investments that we do provide are always up to date and risk adjusted, so that we can get the returns we need without taking too much risk for our clients.
So folks want to hit y'all up, the number's still 387-0094?
Yep, that's us.
And folks, when you call 387-0094, be sure to tell them, hey, I heard Austin Branco on the radio show with Joey Clark. Want to see what y'all can do for me. Appreciate it as always, Austin.
Yeah, thank you, Joey.
Thank you, sir. Again, folks, that is Austin Branco with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
We have Soldier Boy on deck coming up. I got to hit the stop hour break. If you want to get in line, that's 272-9228.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The battle continues between Israel and Iran. Iran fired a new wave of missile attacks on Israel, killing at least 8 people. Israel warned hundreds of thousands of people in the middle of Tehran to evacuate. At the start of the G7 Economic Summit in Canada, President Trump spoke about a number of international issues, including his complaint about removing Russia from that group several years ago. He says Russia's removal may have contributed to Vladimir Putin's decision to go to war against Ukraine. The man accused of murdering a state lawmaker and his wife over the weekend is now in custody in Minnesota. The suspect, Vance Boulder, was arrested last night. That ends a massive search, put the entire state on edge, and lasted nearly 2 days. It's been a booming session for the most part on Wall Street right now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up by 337 points. The S&P up 54. This is SRN News.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I've been thinking, why does it feel like losing weight is harder than ever before? With mixed messages, fad diets, the quick fix injections, even magic coffee. I mean, it's overwhelming. Most people are exhausted trying to fight a battle they cannot win. If you feel this way, trust me, you're not alone. I used to feel that way too. But let me tell you, it's not your fault. Your body is working against you, and the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Do what I did. I called PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition 3 years ago. I lost 53 pounds. I feel terrific, and I've kept the weight off. Make the phone call that can change your life the way it has changed mine. They won't let you fail. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020 to schedule your consultation. The first 11 callers who mentioned the word healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Call now, 855-696-2020. Mention the keyword healthy to get 2 free weeks. Or visit them at myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. Alabama Wholesale Lumber, the best quality building materials in the river region for decades. From common builds to special orders and local delivery. Call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas weather.
Our very unsettled and occasionally wet and stormy weather pattern rolls on as this new week begins. For today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, a sun and cloud mix, hot and humid again, with rounds of showers and thunderstorms that'll be most concentrated in the afternoon and evening hours, with those local heavy downpours. Lots of lightning, high temperatures each day, 90 to 92, lows at night in the lower 70s. Not much change Thursday and Friday, still a better than normal probability of showers and thunderstorms, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Hey, this is Peaches and Clean, Powerful Carpet Cleaning. Do you have commercial property, offices, or rental units? Give us a call at Peaches and Clean. We can clean and restore your carpeting and bring them back to life. Give us a call at Peaches and Clean or peachesandclean.com.
There's no clean like Peaches and Clean.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Another deadly shooting in Montgomery. One woman was killed and another woman critically injured early Sunday morning. MPD responded to the 2800 block of East South Boulevard around 2 a.m. where 2 women had sustained critical gunshot injuries. Both women were taken to a local hospital where one was pronounced dead. No further details have been provided. Montgomery community activist Jamel Brown has announced he's running for governor. Brown's campaign will focus on economic relief, justice reform, and education improvements. Brown is the only Democrat to officially declare for the governor's race so far. The Alabama primaries will be held in May of next year. Millbrook police arrested 2 Montgomery women after they led authorities on a high-speed chase. The pursuit began with an attempted traffic stop on Alabama River Parkway. The driver, 27-year-old Anastasia Philpott, eventually crashed after reaching speeds over 100 miles per hour. The passenger, 21-year-old Jasmine Johnson, fled on foot but was quickly apprehended near Cobbs Ford Road. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Second hour here of the program. Beautiful day in Montgomery, Alabama, though it's starting to get hot. Went to breakfast the other morning with my grandfather. And I'll tell you what, at 8 in the morning, it's getting humid. It might be a long, hot summer here in the Gump. Let's go to Soldier Boy. How you darn?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for picking my call.
Of course.
Two off-the-wall questions, okay?
Okay.
One's a statement and one's a question. First one is, the guy that did the shooting of the two Democratic politicians up north, and was it, what state was that? Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I hear that correctly from the news? They found him 2 blocks away from the scene?
I don't know if it was that close. Hold on. There's been so much news breaking. It's like, it's easy to forget about what happened there. Awful what happened, though.
Well, you know, if he was staying at my house, and I'd wait till the $25,000 go up to $50,000, I'd say, there, he's right there. You know, I'd turn him in a heartbeat, you know.
Captured near Green Isle, it says here.
Somebody said he was like, oh, man, it's only a couple blocks away from where you live. I'm like,
and then you try to watch that interview with that roommate, and I'm like, what is wrong with this guy?
It's all about money, Joey. Second thing is, Joey, got a question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen all these lawyers on national television channels, I think, saying about the lawsuit pending against the Mormons or the Latter-day Saints, whatever they got. I know me as a Catholic, we got enough crap from the priests and the altar boys and the crap and everything. Story is what's going on with the Mormons and the Latter-day Saints.
Honestly, you've stumped me. I haven't even looked into this. They're suing the Mormons?
Well, yeah, they're saying if you this and this or this and this, the Mormons, Latter-day Saints, give us a call, 1-800 such and such, those represent you. There must be something big going on.
Yeah, the AI is responding, saying it's been several lawsuits focused on like financial practices and the handling of child sex abuse allegations. Well, and we talked about this last week that, I mean, this was a huge issue in the Roman Catholic Church, especially after the sexual revolution. But it's an issue. It's been an issue in almost every church. It's an issue anywhere there are kids. You're going to get these predators. And especially in the places where people want to feel comfortable and like trust their, the holy man in their life. And man, I have not done a deep dive though into this, but it looks like there's a lawsuit over tithing, that they misuse tithing funds by investing them rather than using them for charitable purposes, financial transparency concerns, and cover-up allegations when it comes to child sex abuse. Plaintiffs contend that the church helpline used to report abuse was used to suppress reports and shield abusers from accountability. Woo!
Wow. Well, it's me. As a famous phrase from Fire Marshal Bob, that sounds like a deadly combination.
No, like I can't quite do it. Go watch those old Living Color episodes, and man, Fire Marshal Bill and Homie, like they're so funny to this day.
You know what? That stuff was hilarious back then. Today, you wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Oh yeah, well, some of that sort of humor's making a comeback. You just got to know where to look.
Do you remember Handyman? Don't underestimate the power of the hand.
I don't know if I do remember that one.
Handyman was good. Homie the Clown was hilarious.
Yeah.
Homie the Clown, and then two guys that always stole everything and sold it in the parking lot. As soon as you heard a fire or the sirens, you know, it's time to go. Close business up. Shut it down. I mean, and then the two gay guys that were on the show too, Antoine.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff was great comedy. But today, you know.
Oh, you got to know where to work. Have you watched any of the new? It's the second season of the show Tires with Shane Gillis.
No, is it good?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get used to their banter, but it's like ridiculous things happening while running a tire shop, and it certainly cracks me up, and it's over the top. It is funny. It's kind of like, you know, stories exaggerated out of guys hanging out. You know how guys can be at work.
It almost sounds like Taxi series.
Yeah, it's definitely the setting is a tire auto shop, and the hijinks ensue. It's pretty good fun.
Yeah, because it just seems like we just don't have that satire kind of humor anymore because everybody.
But then look up Kill Tony. Like those Kill Tony episodes, nothing's off limits.
Well, you know what? I love All in the Family. I'm sorry.
Wow, that's old school right there.
My dad and I would sit there and die laughing at Archie Bunker. And man, and even as I've gotten older now, the son-in-law that lived upstairs, and the kind of ironic. Here he is, the millennial living upstairs with his wife, you know, a married wife. And I said, you know what? Things didn't change that much, did they?
There you go.
But I appreciate taking my call today. Then, thank you.
Thanks, Soldier Boy. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Is it Don?
Hey, Don, how you doing?
Pretty good. He's wrong on the 4 blocks away thing. They first discovered, I think, clothing, and then they found a car that was much further away, and they started hunting around the car. So that 4 block thing is a lot further than that.
It makes a lot more sense to me.
I'm calling about the wonderful whitewater scam.
Okay.
You're good at math, aren't you?
Not really, but try me.
Let's try this. Yesterday, they put out a thing that the wonderful Alabama Power was funding, I think, 200 camp spots out at Whitewater.
Mm-hmm.
Which probably more money. They have multiple pumps out there. I think they're like 4 or 5 of them. Each pump uses $100 an hour of electricity. Which one do you think is more money? The use of the pumps, electricity, or the amount of spots that Alabama Power funded?
Yeah, definitely the pumps. And then I wonder who's getting that chemical treatment payment. Woo!
And who gets to select the kids? You know, ain't it amazing? We had to build a giant cement pond to put events that will draw people there. Does that make any sense?
No, this is why I was against it from the get-go. I thought it was a bit too aspirational on their part and too niche.
And, you know, you said when we first come up that you would go out there and eat. You know, they advertised forever they were going to have a wonderful state-of-the-art restaurant with cooks from around the world, something like that. You know how long that lasted?
What, a month or two?
About a month, and then they got a deal with the barbecue place downtown. I can't think of the name of it right now. What's the barbecue place?
Well, I only know Smokehouse because they're a great sponsor, but that's in Millbrook. Dreamland, you think?
Place. Yeah, Dreamland. They did a deal with Dreamland, and they bring their barbecue from downtown, use all their equipment, and pass it out. But we were told it was going to be a state-of-the-art. That thing is losing. At what point does it lose enough money that we close it down to keep Doug Singleton from losing face?
Well, and I think the county's in for it more than just the bond issue. I think they put another $40 million in cash. The county's the one who has most of the skin in the game. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever be fully shut down. What I'd imagine will happen is it'll either be given to the Air Force Base or it'll be given to the Porch Creek.
Yeah, but I doubt it. But anyway, my wonderful councilman told me, I said, why don't you do it? He come up with that lie that Singleton come out with about we're going to lose Maxwell Air Force Base.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to have to keep this thing open forever that Maxwell Air Force Base doesn't leave, which is a policy in itself. You think Alabama senators and even Trump would move Maxwell? How many hundreds of years has Maxwell been there? It ain't going to move. If they're there, if Maxwell's there because of Whitewater Park, why don't the people from Maxwell go to it?
Well, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Either they get more visitors, they get more events out there and more out-of-towners and have it actually pay for itself a bit, or some entities can take it over.
And to get people to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're putting out money to get people to come there. That's, it's just optical illusion that try to even, and they can't even do it with freebies.
Oh, and when you bring locals, you're just shifting local dollars around. The real way it makes money is you get tourists. And
WSFA has a live camera out there. You can pull it up. WSFA live camera. It's 80-something degrees and hot as the dickens here. Pull it up and see how many people you got at Montgomery Whitewater.
Well, I appreciate you bringing this up as always, Don. Thank you, sir. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Yeah, somebody, a little bird told me that the county is in this for a heck of a lot of money beyond just the $37 million bond issue. So, $104, $105 million, not too bad for a $50 million project. But like I told Doug Singleton, brought it up with the mayor as well, like this sort of thing to me it's a nice amenity. And you can have nice amenities if you actually have a profitable, robust, growing enterprise base. You need the donut, you need the sundae before you add the sprinkle and the cherry on top. And that's the big thing for this city. And, as much as you have to tip your hat to the amount of tourism dollars being brought in by EJI and all that, I wonder, do they keep those numbers going? Because my sense of that place is it's kind of a thing you visit once. Honestly, it's up there. It's like visiting the Holocaust Museum in D.C. How many times do you want to go to that? So I do wonder, do we continue to have the large numbers of tourists from things already here? That's why I didn't like it in the first place. But the thing is built. Maybe they can pull a rabbit out of their hat or something like that. 272-9228. This entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. If you're trying to, get your financials straight again, a great refinance deal can be a great way to restructure that debt hanging over your head, especially if it's credit card debt, where you're barely, if at all, making those minimum payments with those ridiculous, exorbitant interest rates. If you have equity built up in your home, this is a great way to get that debt off your back. Or maybe you're fine on the debt side, but you're just looking to bring down monthly overhead costs as you get near retirement or you're in retirement. And if you're a veteran, they can get you the latest in the VA home loan programs. It's the best game in town. There are a lot of veterans still walking around, and they don't know that these benefits are available. These are benefits y'all earn through your service, and Alabama Home Mortgage can help you take advantage of those. And it's not just refinance. If you're looking to buy, they're at Alabama Home Mortgage, especially if you're a first-time home buyer and especially if you're a veteran. They can walk you through that process from pre-approval all the way to closing day. So call them up. 567-4223 is their number. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online if that's how you like to do it at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368. Equal housing lender. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
I can't believe it. I didn't wait 15 seconds. This is Dave. Hey, Joey.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
I don't think has anyone?
That wasn't me, Dave. I didn't cut you off, Dave. I'm flying solo today. I want all the calls I can get. So call me back, Dave. Please. Somebody cut you off. It wasn't me. What a mess. Here, I think this is Dave calling back. Hey, Dave, is that you? Okay. How about this? Let's hit a break instead, see if we can get our frickin' phones frickin' working.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
This is David Ernest from the Health and Wealth Show. We like to cut up and have fun, maybe poke a little fun at some politicians. But we don't take ourselves too seriously. One thing we do take seriously is your personal finances and your plans for retirement. You can tell by listening, we're a little different. Yeah, we like to have a good time on the radio, but we're dead serious about your financial future and helping you achieve your goals. At Ernest Financial, we're committed to giving you the attention you need. We don't treat you like a number. You're way more important to us. At Ernest Financial, it's about helping you today and preparing you for tomorrow. People call us who are on the verge of retirement, and they know they need a plan for the future. No matter where you are in life, Ernest Financial will help guide your every step towards retirement. Give us a call and let us show you what our individual customer attention can do for your future.
Concerned about your retirement? Call David Ernest toll free at 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Okay, I was about to go to Dave again, and he dropped again. I think the phone issue's on his end. Dave, call us back, but let's try this. You're on there? Who's this?
This is Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Joey.
What's up?
Hey,
Talk fast.
I wanted to start with the question. Has anyone commented on your commentary this morning, your editorial that you began your show with?
No.
Well, I think we should. And I've said similar things before. I really appreciate you bringing the historical perspective and dimension into the local, or not just the I don't mean local, into the contemporary stories that are in the news every day. You go back and dig, and maybe you're not digging, you just know it all, which I think you do know a lot of it. But I appreciate that. And I think as we look at what's unfolding in Iran with Israel and our potential involvement, it's easy for me and maybe a lot of people to think, yeah, go get them. Let's jump on the bandwagon and hit them while they're looks like they're going down, maybe, and let's do it. But I think every war is way more complicated than we realize. And the story that you told about the beginning of the Civil War is a great way to look at this. It's not going to be a picnic. And so I just wanted to say I appreciate that, Joey.
Well, I really appreciate you telling me. Thank you, sir.
And two other things, if you got a minute. I don't have in my mind the name of the guy that's often with you that last week was telling the story of his accident and the trauma and going to the ER and how he...
Yeah, Craig Munger, yeah.
Craig. Yeah, and so I guess you've talked to him since then. He's doing okay, and it'll be a while till he knows if his hand is going to be fully functional.
Yeah, he's doing all right. That's like anything with some nerve damage. It's not terribly severe, thank God. He's still got some basic function. I haven't talked to him about that. I know his blood pressure's been up because he's been watching this war footage, but as far as I know, he's doing all right. He's posting. He's got articles back there at 1819 News again, back working, so that's a good sign.
Okay. Well, I appreciated hearing his story. And just one more thing quickly, if you got a moment. As I commend you on your grasp of history, I'm trying to read more and more books because I'm very weak in that area. two books I read or listened to in the last couple of months. Not so much history, but J.D. Vance biography. And then there was one that he wrote before he came to the vice presidency called Hillbilly Elegy. Those were very enlightening to me, and it helps me get a little bit of better perspective on who J.D. Vance is. And I appreciate that, and I'm thankful for who he is and where he's come from. It's got quite a story.
It's remarkable. He not only got out and survived and was able to save his mom from her addiction, kind of amazing, but that he then goes to Yale out of that environment. Not only graduates from Yale, but is like stellar at Yale, then makes millions of dollars. And then after damning Trump for years publicly, somehow ends up vice president. Y'all watch out for that guy. He's got skill. I'll put it that way.
Did you read the book or hear the part where he's about to graduate law school and he gets invited to a dinner where all these prospective employers are wining and dining them, and he gets seated at a table with all this silverware. He has no idea what it's all for.
Yeah.
He calls up his girlfriend who tells him basically how to handle that. And for the first time in his life, he's offered water. Would you like tap water or sparkling? And he didn't know what the difference was, and he spits it out. He says, something's wrong with it.
Yeah, because sparkling water is gross. I agree with JD.
Well, I lived in Europe long enough to develop a taste for it, but I'm thankful that there's a guy like that up in the White House with Trump. You know, he's come from roots down. He can relate to the local guys. Okay, thanks for your show, Joey. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave. Great call. Let's go to Papa B. Hey, Papa B, how you doing?
Hey, watching this guy on what do they call him? A crotch rocket.
Oh yeah, one of those motorcycles.
Weaving his way in and out of traffic. I'm like, dude, you're going to be bugs squat if you keep this up. Riding a motorcycle, I can tell you, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
But they're
you're
fun.
Have until you start sliding down the concrete or the asphalt and losing skin, you know.
No, it's bad, but it's the same reason that men date crazy women. It's the risk is kind of the part of the reward.
All right. Touche, sir. So, looking at these folks that I really am just having a hard time being patient with them, that are calling for all these arrests. So, why isn't Trump arresting these folks? This, James Comey, all these other folks. I got to arrest them. Well, yeah, true. They need to be arrested. They need to be thrown in jail. All of that. But my question to any of them is, why aren't you using your brain, your God-given brain? If you arrest them, nothing's going to happen right now because the courts are going to just sit on the ball or not do anything at all and finally spit them out after 2 years with nothing. Nothing's going to happen, Joey. There's no point in arresting these people unless and until you can bring them to a just court. And right now, we don't have that.
Well, so and also you need good
the belly aching.
And you don't need to do what they did to Trump. It doesn't need to be so-called trumped up charges. It actually, you can't just arrest them because I don't like them or they were on the wrong political team, or even this idea of they abused, say, their power at the FBI in the case of Comey. But still, where's the statute that says that he ain't allowed to do that? It's one of these gray areas. Nobody's above the law except when you're kind of executing and running and making the laws. If they have like real crimes on people and develop cases, I say go for it, man. I think actually Tish James, the attorney general up there in New York's got some trouble coming her way. So a few have happened, but you know me, you've listened to me for years. I'm not the type that's on this kick of I want vengeance. I know some people are, and good for you, but to me, that doesn't make my life better. Like, I like to see justice served, but at the end of the day, I'd rather Trump focus on the practical things like cost of groceries, gas, stopping these pointless wars that we're in the thick of that, ain't we? And so many other things that are tough enough to do. To get bogged down, to your point, with hostile courts and with folks that really want to play up being the martyr, why go down that road?
Well, I mean, I think about two things. First of all, I remember the Durham trial.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened.
Nothing
happened. There was an exercise in futility. The guy was clearly guilty of lying, creating a lie in order to, get the whole Russia hoax started. He knew what he was doing. They knew what he was doing. Nothing happened. So, I don't see any kind of daylight there of a way forward. And the other thing I think about is the absolute hell that they put Donald Trump and his supporters through over the last 8 years. I mean, these are the courts. These are the courts that we would have to go into and deal with. They're just not. They're not just.
Right.
So what is the point? They do need to be arrested. They do need to be thrown in jail. Not just Comey, but I was using him as an example. Many, many people. But until you can have the outcome that really needs to happen, there's no point in it. And I'm tired of hearing people belly aching about, well, Trump isn't doing this, and Cash Patel's not doing that, and Dan Bongino's not doing enough. They're doing what they can.
Well, isn't it amazing? I'm hearing your point loud and clear that after Elon's dust up and then I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry, Mr. President. But after Elon had that big blow up, it's like, we're definitely at the point where the honeymoon's over, where you're hearing a lot of different, points of the coalition that elected Trump in 24. They're all starting to gripe about not getting theirs and fight with one another. The beauty of it is Trump seems to play all these different interest groups against each other fairly well. And he's wise to let it play out and let himself be the ultimate decision maker on where we're going to go on this, lump it or like it.
Yeah. Right. Then to divert from the conversation briefly, I got a feeling that whole thing with Elon Musk was just staged. That's my point of view. It kind of had that stage feel, but whatever. Anyway, that got my point across, and so tired of hearing y'all bellyache about it. They're doing what they can. They're getting the low-hanging fruit. The drug dealers, the human traffickers, they're going after them. You got to go after the pawns before here's that crotch rocket guy right about to knock into me. Golly.
Oh, well, that's a fitting way to end the call. We start with the crotch rocket and we end with the crotch rocket. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.
272-9228. Again, that's 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Now, it does look like, based on what Austin Branca was saying, things are fairly stable in the markets. Trump is calling for more ICE enforcement in the cities. He made a comment at a press conference over the weekend, or it might have been Friday, where he talked about, hey, I'm not worried about the person that's been working in the hospitality industry or on the farms for 20 years, been in the country 20, 25 years. That's not our main focus here. But, then one part of the base, the MAGA coalition, got real upset with that. No, deport every single person who's here. And so now Trump's back to saying, actually, I'm going to focus on immigration enforcement. I'm going to focus hard on it, but I want it to be focused on the cities. In fact, I have the very long Truth Social message that Trump put out there. Can I read this? Am I allowed to read this? This is from Donald Trump. It's so long, I'm not even going to do the voice. I might do it a little, but I'm not really going to do the voice. Trump writes, our nation's ICE officers have shown incredible strength, determination, and courage as they facilitate a very important mission, the largest mass deportation operation of illegal aliens in history. Every day, the brave men and women of ICE are subjected to violence, harassment, and even threats from radical Democrat politicians, but nothing will stop us from executing our mission and fulfilling our mandate to the American people. ICE officers are herewith ordered, by notice of this truth, to do all in their power to achieve the very important goal of delivering the single largest mass deportation program in history. In order to achieve this, the president goes on, we must expand efforts to detain and deport illegal aliens in America's largest cities, such as Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, where millions upon millions of illegal aliens reside. These and other cities are the core of the Democrat power center, where they use illegal aliens to expand their voter base, cheat in elections, and grow the welfare state, robbing good-paying jobs and benefits from hardworking American citizens. These radical left Democrats are sick of mind, hate our country, and actually want to destroy our inner cities, writes the president, and they are doing a good job of it. There is something wrong with them. That is why they believe in open borders, transgender for everybody, and men playing in women's sports. And that is why I want ICE, Border Patrol, and our great and patriotic law enforcement officers to focus on our crime-ridden and deadly inner cities and those places where sanctuary cities play such a big role. You don't hear about sanctuary cities in our heartland. I want our brave ICE officers, Trump goes on to say, to know that real Americans are cheering you on every day. The American people want our cities, schools, and communities to be safe and free from illegal alien crime, conflict, and chaos. That's why I have directed my entire administration to put every resource possible behind this effort and reverse the tide of mass destruction migration that has turned once idyllic towns into scenes of third world dystopia. Our federal government will continue to be focused on the remigration of aliens to the places from where they came and preventing the admission of anyone who undermines the domestic tranquility of the United States. To ICE, FBI, DEA, ATF, the Patriots at Pentagon and the State Department, you have my unwavering support. Now get the job done, DJT. So a redoubling of efforts to focus, especially on America's largest cities, when it comes to immigration. And in fact, there's actually data points out there now, if you're keeping score, actually deported by the government, fairly low numbers in the thousands, but nearly 1 million illegal immigrants have quote unquote self-deported under Trump. Some are saying this is also leading to higher wages. Based on government data, the Center for Immigration Studies has conservatively estimated there are about 15.4 million illegal aliens in the United States, a 50% increase over the 4 tumultuous years of the Biden administration. But it looks like they've implemented a 2-track plan in the Trump administration to tackle this huge task. Of course, one of those tracks relies on arrests and deportations of aliens unlawfully here, focusing mainly on criminals. Worst first strategy, which is a pretty sound idea. The other track is more subtle, but also cheaper for taxpayers and arguably much more effective, encouraging illegal migrants that are here to self-deport. And of course, it began on Inauguration Day with Trump's directive requiring DHS to ensure all aliens present in the United States, legal and otherwise, have registered with the federal government and to prosecute those who don't comply. By late February, Nome had implemented that registration program. Of course, that's Kristi Noem, Secretary of DHS. Next, DHS launched a multi-million-dollar ad campaign warning migrants not to enter illegally or alternatively to leave voluntarily now and possibly have an opportunity to return. Nome also rebranded the notorious CBP One app, calling it the CBP Home, which aliens can use to notify the U.S. government of their intent to depart. So how effective has this self-deportation been? One way to track the program is by checking employment numbers. The Wall Street Journal calculated a decline in the immigrant population of 773,000 in the first 4 months of Trump. The Washington Post claims 1 million foreign-born workers have exited the workforce since March. The Post frames this as a sign of the weakening labor supply. Yet the paper also notes average hourly wages are accelerating, rising by 0.4% over the month to $36.24 in May as earnings continue to beat inflation in a boost to workers' spending power. In other words, with fewer illegal immigrants, businesses have to raise wages. So it seems somewhat to be working. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Are you trying to tell me the illegal doing all this shooting in cities like Chicago every weekend and Atlanta and Birmingham, the Gulf, and all these cities every weekend, they illegal doing all this shooting?
Well, I'm not sure if that's it. I don't know if that's all. I don't know if that's just illegal.
Doing all the shooting, y'all That's all they've been talking about, what the illegals been doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, how you doing?
Yeah, but they're here illegally. It's illegal.
That ain't the point.
That is the point. They shouldn't even be here. You know, if somebody's born here and is a citizen here, like, you know, we got to deal with them too. But you can't just send them to El Salvador.
People can't have a picnic anymore. They worry about people out there shooting up the picnic and the boots on the ground events. We can't do anything anymore because.
No, Duke, I went to the. I don't know, man.
Doing all the shooting.
I don't know, man. I went to the movie theater the other day to see the new Mission Impossible movie. I'm pretty sure it was all these illegals that were being rowdy and interrupting the movie.
You know what I'm talking about? See, I ain't worried about these people, you know. All they, I walk by and they nod their head and smile at me a little bit, you know. But the reason I called, sir, I ain't mean, how you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing, man? Good to hear from you.
Oh, okay. You got me stirred up. I was sitting there listening to you while I was home. The league is doing all this shooting and killing and carrying on. Chicago probably killed more over the weekend than hell that these people killed since they've been here.
I mean, the gangs are a real thing, Duke.
But the hell, there's that word about crime. No, they claim they worry about crime. Hey, deal with the crime and what we get the people that's here now.
Yes, a lot of that crime, though, is driven by things like the drug trade and human trafficking trades, and a lot of that is based on illegal operators.
Anyhow, but let me read that call, sir. Who's going to work in the chicken house now since all the
Americans?
People
Americans.
So the plan is. Somebody talked to me about this a while back. They said the plan is to get the people off the old cuz and they're walking around and holding the pants up every day. That Trump said he's gonna put them to work. You think these guys gonna clean chicken guts? Huh? You think these guys gonna go out there in the strawberry field and pick the strawberries? Huh?
I don't know if cuz is, but I think a lot of Americans, yes, if they want to make money.
White kids ain't gonna do it either. The white kids not gonna do it either.
Hey, there are a lot of white kids with their pants hanging around their ass too. Don't get me started.
No, I'm saying the white kids nor the black kids gonna go out there and do any of this stuff. You know that.
No, but there are literally people looking for work, and yes,
they ain't looking for that right there.
Okay. Well, you also heard Trump over the weekend say that for folks that are been here for a long time working in things like the farms or the hospitality industry, we're not looking at those folks.
We're not talking about that kind of regular farm work. We're dealing with the cows and the pigs and stuff like that. I'm talking about the strawberries and down on the ground all day long, kneel down there. And then on the chicken guts, you got to deal with that. Then you got to go home and fry some chicken when you get home and think about what you just saw at work.
Can I read you an example? This is from, can I read you an example from NBC News?
What that?
In Omaha, Nebraska, cuz every seat in the waiting area of Glen Valley Foods was occupied with people filling out job applications early Thursday afternoon, 2 days after the meatpacking plant became the center of the largest worksite immigration raid in the state of Nebraska so far this year. Dozens of prospective employees, many of them Spanish speakers, had been coming in and out of the plant all day. Some were hoping to land a new job. Others were coming in for training. The scene gave the company's president, Chad Hartman, a glimmer of hope amid the chaos that ensued after the raids purged roughly half of his staff, many of whom have been longtime employees for the company. Hartman had never seen or experienced a raid before, but apparently new workers are showing up like crazy to fill those jobs that these people were taken out of because they were reported.
What color these people were they white or black?
Well, they might be Hispanic, they might be brown.
That's what I'm talking about. See, well, that's my point. See,
there are legal Hispanics here, sir.
A Caucasian to do this kind of work. Nah.
Well, what's wrong with us?
I don't know what the hell wrong with y'all, but you're not going to do the kind of.
I don't know what the hell's wrong with y'all. I was trying to be, a little inclusive, saying us, but if you want to play that way, I'll play that way.
Y'all, all of us, the blacks and the whites. So all the signs we see is black and white in this country, anyway. So
Ebony and Ivory. Yeah. That song really brought people together.
Man, it's just crazy out here, man. It just. I love listening to you guys, man. I learn a lot listening to you guys, man. Though, for real.
Well, I appreciate you calling in and listening, but I've been more focused on all this crazy war stuff coming across my feed. It's just nuts.
I'm not gonna comment on that one today, man. I'm just sitting there looking and listening, and yes, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. I just hope it doesn't continue on too long, because that's when it can get real nasty. It can pull us and a lot of other people into the fray, but we'll see.
But I mean, get worked up a little bit, Joey. I mean, just this nonsense, boy, just go on and on like that rabbit, you know.
Well, I mean, the facts are the facts, and yeah, about 1 million people have self-deported, which is, part of the plan. And then you focus on, yes, in LA where all these riots and the protests got going. The cause of that is they were serving criminal warrants against guys known for things like murder and child trafficking and money laundering for the cartels out of the business they were raiding. And that's what caused the people being upset. But yes, there's a lot of people here that are, natural born, who are citizens who commit crimes, but there are a heck of a lot of people here illegally, some of the worst who are involved in some of the worst stuff, and they need to be out of there. If we're going to focus on deporting people, that's who you focus on the first, the worst.
Yep. And one more question before I go, Joey. Can you name one politician that that would send their son on one of these job sites, down there, cleaning up chicken guts or picking strawberries and all that stuff, Well, do you know the key name went off the top of your head that they got a son or daughter that, they would recommend to go and work at one of these places?
Katie Brett.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like, you ain't going to be, like, before you get to come into the, living where the air is crisp, you need to go work with your hands, young man.
So her son or daughter get a summer
I
job.
don't know. Like, you're asking, I don't know these people's lives. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, like, does Marjorie Taylor Greene have a son? I'm sure.
You just had to throw a joke in there, that's all. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
That was a joke, though.
I don't know, man.
All right, I'm gone.
Appreciate it, dude. 272-9228. Yeah, I just don't buy this idea that the vast majority of Americans are too good for hard manual labor, tedious and manual intensive jobs. It's just you're going to have to pay them more. And they might very well do that. In fact, I think there have been a lot of folks who, instead of doing Uber Eats and DoorDash or whatever, or working some fast food joint, might enjoy a full-time job with great pay and benefits, even if it's hard work, but you got to pay them. And that's what the data is showing, that you're seeing a lot of foreign-born folks leave the workforce, and you're seeing a lot of workers that are native-born come on board the workforce, and their wages are growing faster than inflation. A great metric to understand the success of the Trump team. People always ask about what should we be watching for, is real wages. What is the purchasing power of the average American? Are their real wages going up or down? Of course, this fits into the larger context of the economy and energy prices and yada, yada, yada. Big investment, yada, yada, yada. But a great measure and metric of success for the Trump team, talking about the forgotten man and woman of America, will be looking at real wages for working Americans. Those continue to rise. Heck, I don't even think the Democrats will have a chance to win the House. It's all about the economy. I think the cards are in their favor right now, as it always is for the party out of power. By the way, did they do that No Kings protest thing over the weekend? I didn't even notice. I think there are some people out there twirling around their scarves and stuff and their handmade signs and blowing glass and stuff. I don't know. It was like turned into some little festival in downtown Montgomery. And like, I look at those folks, I'm like, God love y'all. I'll hang out. But it seems like a waste of a perfectly good day to go out there and protest kings. Like, we don't have a king. Now, we have unaccountability. We have governments and people in positions of power in our government and outside our government that have impunity and who have, a different set of rules for them, but not for us. Oh, a lot of that going on. But let's just focus all our energy on Trump as though he's a king. Seemed like the wrong messaging to me. A lot of folks saying, the actual No King's Day is July 4th. You should show up and celebrate this great country founded on that principle. Got to hit this break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend, must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Our very unsettled and occasionally wet and stormy weather pattern rolls on as this new week begins. For today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, a sun and cloud mix, hot and humid again, with rounds of showers and thunderstorms that'll be most concentrated in the afternoon and evening hours with those local heavy downpours, lots of lightning, high temperatures each day, 90 to 92, lows at night in the lower 70s. Not much change Thursday and Friday, still a better than normal probability of showers and thunderstorms, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Woodward, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Did you know that more Americans listen to radio than use Facebook each week? Did you know that 77% of listeners would try a brand or product endorsed by their favorite radio personality? Contact me, Cheryl Woodward, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
We've all been fooled by the big box stores, especially when it comes to flooring. They'll get you in with the low prices up front, then hit you with the extra fees, sketchy installs, and surprise charges. But lucky for you, you can enjoy the low prices you want with all the amenities of a locally owned and trusted business during Prattville Carpet's summer sale. Choose tile, luxury vinyl plank, and carpet for your whole home for just $1.39 a square foot. No games, just value.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, how you doing, Michael?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Oh, life is good. Got my dad in town tonight. You know, he's a customer of Cohen's. I'm a customer of Cohen's. It runs in the family, it seems.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I remember he got a Mitsubishi like back projector big screen to put in the media room from y'all.
Uh-huh.
Man, it's amazing. Like, you know, the TV y'all sold me, like just 10, 15 years where the technology's gone. Pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, we just had a customer about a week ago that told me that his 2006 or 04 Mitsubishi big screen just died. and I'm just blown away that it lasted that long. But more power to him. And of course, I'm sure it was there because it was still working.
Well, and
I'm sure he's happy to move it out and put a flat panel in.
Yeah, I believe when I was poorer, I was gifted the old rear projection, and I was trying to keep it working. And I think I had to call y'all up about like a new bulb or something. Like, how do I make this thing keep running?
Right.
Well, and it just shows like y'all have all the products anybody else is going to have. You're going to be able to match, if not beat, a lot of prices out there. But it's the service that really, I think, keeps the generations coming back, keeps people coming back to Cohen.
Well, that's right, and service is so much more. I mean, we're fortunate that I have 4 appliance techs, and I have Michael Jacks, and I have an installer for appliances and delivery crew and everything. But service is also when you come in, that our sales guys are more interested in helping you make the right decision than to just sell a box, whether it's a refrigerator, a washer, or a television. I had a customer call me this morning. He wanted a new TV, and he says, I've got a stroke, and I've got my eyesight is not as good as it was. What do you recommend? What do you got on sale? And I'm like, well, I have a lot of stuff on sale, but the bigger question is can you give me some room dimensions and how far away you're seated from the TV? Because, if you're seated 4 feet away, 65 inches is huge.
Right.
But if you're 20 feet away, 100 inches big, but it's not huge. You know what I mean? It's all based upon a relative experience of how close you are and what you're looking for out of it. And that's something that our guys are focused on, is trying to help you make the right choice instead of just making a quick sale and getting you out of here.
Exactly. Because, it's a long-term, satisfaction with the customer. And folks, if you want to, always peruse online, you can go to thinkcohens.com, but get by there, experience not only the great products they have there on the electronics and appliance side, but get to know the team. You're going to find very quickly that Michael is telling the God's honest truth. I know it. My dad knows it. My grandfather's done business with y'all, and it really is true. Service makes a huge difference there. Great family-owned business at Cohen's. You can stop by at 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael if you see him. Be like, hey, I heard you on that radio show, that Joey Clark fella.
Joey Solo.
Indeed.
Yes. Y'all come see us and ask us some questions. Let us ask you some questions, and let us help you make the right choice.
Oh, appreciate it. Appreciate it as always.
Right, y'all take care.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Coming up, I believe I could read a in-depth look done by the Wall Street Journal. I somehow have gotten a hold of it. I stopped paying for the Wall Street Journal because all the nonsense they put out there. But, sometimes they still have, good reporters doing interesting exclusive scoops on stuff. And the headline I'm looking at right now that I somehow got access to, don't tell them that I got it for free. The headline reads, how Israel's Mossad smuggled drone parts to attack Iran from within. The operation used stealth to target Iranian air defenses, missiles. Well, we can get into that. But I've got another break here. We got a whole other hour here. Plenty of leg room, stretch out, and enjoy. You're listening to News and Views, or as we call the show online, Joey Clark Live. You can always watch online, especially if you just caught the tail end of a segment. Maybe you want to go back and listen to a phone call you did. You just go to Joey Clark Live on YouTube, or you can always watch on X at the Joey Clark, or just Joey Clark on Facebook. We stream on all those platforms for the time being. So y'all stay tuned. More News and Views, or as we might say online, Joey Clark Live, after this half-hour break.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Iran fired a new wave of missile attacks at Israel, killing at least 8 people, while Israel warned hundreds of thousands of people in the middle of Tehran to evacuate. Meanwhile, at the start of the G7 summit in Canada, President Trump commented on the Israel-Iran conflict. He also complained about the group removing Russia from its ranks several years ago. The president says that may have played a role in Vladimir Putin's decision to eventually invade Ukraine. The man accused of murdering a Minnesota state lawmaker over the weekend is now in custody. The suspect, Vance Bolter, was arrested last night, ending a massive search that put the entire state on edge and lasted for nearly 2 days. In northern West Virginia, the cleanup continues after torrential rains led to deadly flash flooding. Several inches of rain fell in just a short period of time. At least 5 people were killed, 3 still missing. This is SRN News.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. Alabama Wholesale Lumber, serving the river region with the best quality building materials for decades. Contractor to do-it-yourselfer. Call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas weather.
Our very unsettled and occasionally wet and stormy weather pattern rolls on as this new week begins. For today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, a sun and cloud mix, hot and humid again, with rounds of showers and thunderstorms that'll be most concentrated in the afternoon and evening hours, with those local heavy downpours. Lots of lightning. High temperatures each day, 90 to 92. Lows at night in the lower 70s. Not much change Thursday and Friday. Still a better than normal probability of showers and thunderstorms, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Hey, this is Jody Pangle with Peaches and Clean Powerful Carpet Cleaning. Have you been putting off your home carpet cleaning for a while? Give us a call at Peaches and Clean so we can bring your carpeting back to life. Check us out online at peachesandclean.com.
There's no clean like Peaches and Clean.
1819 News.
An illegal alien from Mexico is now in the custody of Immigrations and Customs Enforcement after first being arrested in Coleman 2 years ago. Alberto Guerrero was in the U.S. illegally and then was also charged with sexual abuse of a child in Coleman. Guerrero also has an arrest record out of the state of Texas from 1996. He was charged with aggravated kidnapping back then and has since re-entered the U.S. despite deportation. Coleman County law enforcement notified the ICE agency that Guerrero was still living in Coleman out on bond and facing these sexual abuse charges. Coleman County District Attorney Champ Crocker told the Coleman Daily that the victim's family wanted Guerrero sent back to his country of origin, and that is what the county authorities are doing. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
A very strange story is emerging out of Dothan. WTVY News is reporting that a family purchased a stuffed animal for a child only to find 100 pills inside the stuffed animal. Houston County authorities are now testing that substance and believe it was very likely a part of a smuggling operation. The stuffed animal is called a fuggler, which stands for funny, ugly monster toy. Anyone who has purchased this item is encouraged to contact and talk to the Houston County Sheriff's Office. R&B singer Anthony Hamilton is going to headline the Alabama National Fair this year. The Grammy Award-winning singer will be at the Garrett Coliseum Fairgrounds on October 11th. That concert is free to those who pay for fair admission. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. You know, I played the clip for you earlier, but apparently Israel was able to hit Iranian state TV while they were in the middle of a live broadcast. Pretty amazing footage there. Apparently state TV is back online from a different location, but it looks like Israel has complete air supremacy, or at least superiority, has control of the skies above Iran. Now, how did they pull that off? Well, let's do this inside look by the Wall Street Journal. By the time Israel's advanced F-35 jet fighters swooped in to attack Iran's nuclear facilities and military leadership, a lower tech threat had already crossed the border and was in position to clear the way. Israel had spent months smuggling in parts for hundreds of quadcopter drones rigged with explosives in suitcases, trucks, and shipping containers, as well as munitions that could be fired from unmanned platforms. This is according to people familiar with the operation. Small teams armed with the equipment set up near Iran's air defense emplacements and missile launch sites. When Israel's attack began, some of the teams took out air defenses while others hit missile launchers as they rolled out of their shelters and set up to fire. The operation helps explain the limited nature of Iran's response thus far to Israel's attacks. 300 ballistic missiles is limited. Guess they wanted to do more. It also further shows evidence of how the off-the-shelf technology is changing the battlefield and creating dangerous new security challenges for governments. The exploit came just weeks after Ukraine deployed similar tactics, using drones smuggled into Russia in the roofs of shipping containers to attack dozens of warplanes used by Moscow to attack Ukrainian cities. The intelligence operations showed how attackers are using creativity and low-cost drones to get past sophisticated air defense systems to destroy valuable targets in ways that are hard to stop. The operation by Israel's spy agency Mossad was aimed at taking out threats to Israeli warplanes and knocking out missiles before they could be fired at cities. The team on the ground hit dozens of missiles before they could be launched in the early hours of the attack, one of the people involved in this. Israel's Air Force also focused heavily on air defense and missiles in the first days of the campaign. Iran ultimately fired around 200 missiles at Israel in 4 salvos Friday and overnight into Saturday, leaving 3 dead and property damage around Tel Aviv. Israel had expected a much more severe response, said Seema Shine, a former senior intelligence officer in the Mossad and now head of the Iran program at the Institute of National Security Studies, a think tank in Tel Aviv. Iran, however, has vast resources it could muster for several and more severe attacks. We expect much more, Shine said, but that doesn't mean we won't have much more today or tomorrow. The attacks on Iranian air defenses were more decisive, helping Israel quickly establish dominance in the air. Israel's Air Force has also aggressively targeted those defenses. Israeli military spokesman said Saturday that Israel overnight attacked targets in Tehran with 70 fighter planes that spent more than 2 hours in the Iranian capital's airspace. This is the deepest distance that we have operated so far in Iran. We created aerial freedom of action. An advisory from Iran's intelligence services circulating Saturday in some of the country's newspapers, including the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' linked publication, Tasnim, told people to be on watch for Israeli use of pickups and cargo trucks to launch drones. Israel has deeply integrated ambitious intelligence operations into its warfighting. It kicked off a 2-month campaign against the Lebanese militia Hezbollah last fall with an operation that caused thousands of pagers and walkie-talkies carried by its ranks to suddenly explode. The country has also shown that its agents have deeply infiltrated Iran. Last summer, Israel killed Hamas leader Haniyeh, or however you say his name, by sneaking a bomb into his heavily guarded room at a Revolutionary Guard guest house and detonating it after he attended the inauguration of Iran's new president. In the current campaign, the Mossad's operations inside Iran have included hunting for leadership targets in Tehran. One of the people familiar with the operation said, drones have been a regular feature of Israel's operations in Iran. In 2022, it used explosive-laden quadcopters to strike an Iranian drone production site. A year later, it used drones to target an ammunition factory. The spy agency began preparing for the current drone operations years ago, according to people involved in those operations. It knew where Iran kept missiles to be ready for launch, but needed to be in position to attack them given the country's size and distance from Israel. Mossad brought the quadcopters in through commercial channels, using often unwitting business partners. Agents on the ground would collect the munitions and distribute them to the teams. Israel trained the team leaders in third countries, and they, in turn, trained the teams. The teams watched as Iran rolled out missiles, then hit them before they could be erected for launch. Mossad knew the trucks that moved the missiles from storage to the launch site were a bottleneck for Iran, which had 4 times as many missiles as trucks. The teams took out dozens of trucks, according to people there. They were still operating on the ground deep into Friday. The operations and making them public have an important ancillary effect. No one in Iran in the high echelons can be sure he isn't known to Israeli intelligence and won't be targeted. It's not just the damage caused, but the nervousness it brings. So not only the actual kinetic war, but psychological operations on, in particular, the leadership there. And a little wrinkle I learned in a video watching last night. If you don't check out, it's not like gospel or anything, but it's just really well put together. Caspian Report is a fascinating, geopolitical YouTube page. But they're great videos. Like I said, not always right about everything, but a really good presentation of a lot of publicly available facts out there. And one thing they pointed out, and I think this is remaining true, is most of the people being killed in leadership, it's not civilians necessarily, though I'm sure the Ayatollah is sleeping with one eye open, if not sleeping at all. But most of the leadership being killed is the Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC. Why? Well, because they're the true radicals. They're the ones that, Soleimani was the head of the Quds Force under the IRGC that Trump killed. The Revolutionary Guard is the radical, it's in the name, Guard of the Revolution. Started in 79. And so if you continue to take out their leaders, one after the other, after the other, after the other, even after being promoted, and you don't touch the normal military's leadership structure, could you be driving a wedge between peoples in the country? This is why they're hitting the state TV outlets, and they're hitting the more radical revolutionary types to give breathing room to those who run the normal military, who maybe over the years have felt a bit slighted that they aren't really calling the shots. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I think it's foolish for anybody, even if you're cheering this on and you think Iran has what's coming to them, no one should consider this a picnic. But so far, it's been quite an operation. My vote is to stay out of it if America has a choice. Of course, that'll be the choice of the president. Stay out of it. Israelis are a sovereign nation. They can defend themselves as they see fit. This should not be America's war. But we'll see where things are going next in the coming days. Now, as all this has been going on in the news here from our own backyard, from my alma mater, Auburn University. Hey, April Marie Fogel, what's up, lady? She wrote this up for 1819news.com. Whistleblowers say Auburn University race-based admissions allegations tip of the iceberg. It includes the vice president of the university. Allegations have emerged against Dr. Geoffrey Gaimon. That's quite a name. A senior member of Auburn University's administration who has allegedly employed race-based employment practices for years and actively encouraged race-based admission and scholarship programs within the department under her oversight. Wait, it's a woman named Geoffrey? Her actions have prompted calls for university president Christopher B. Roberts and the board of trustees to, by the way, you'll have to from now on refer to me not as Joey Clark, but as Joey R. Clark. Hawk Show toast. But her actions have prompted calls for the university president and the board of trustees there at Auburn to take decisive corrective action before the university finds itself in the crosshairs of an unforgiving Trump administration. In early May, Auburn University student paper, The Plainsman, detailed numerous claims of wrongdoing in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, led by Phil J. Verpil. Again, another interesting name. Almost in passing, the report on Verpil said he reports directly to Geoffrey Gaimon, Auburn's vice president of enrollment. Sources familiar with the matter told 1819 News that the Plainsman report featuring Verpil was mainly accurate, but it failed to recognize that Gaimon was the impetus behind the chaos. According to the university's website, Gaimon was named vice president of enrollment in March of 2019 and oversees the areas of comms, recruitment, and admissions for future students, as well as scholarships for future and current students. Gaimon will provide vision and leadership to Auburn's student recruitment and enrollment efforts, including strategic direction, oversight, and support to admissions and scholarship administration, declared a statement at the time of her hiring. Under Auburn President Steve Leith or Leth or whatever. All these odd names. You think this would be in a local story, I could pronounce these names, yet I fail. Maybe it's my problem. Anyway, Leith left his position with Auburn just 3 months after Gaimon started. Evidence, including an audio recording and multiple internal documents provided to 1819 News, suggests that the race-based activities in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions have not been done overtly by Verpil. Instead, they were encouraged and celebrated by Gaimon. With a footnote that read, serving students teamwork diversity, a PowerPoint presentation given to Office of the Undergraduate Admission Staff on September 3rd, 2024. It went over specifics of the fall 2025 first-year application process to date. One slide stands out, listing 4 target populations. Only one race is being targeted for recruitment, Black and African American. It is listed as the second priority. A second piece of evidence from the Office of Admissions also showed the same targeted race demographic. Multiple people with direct knowledge of Auburn's admissions process spoke to 1819 News independently, providing evidence and explaining in detail how Verpil, at the behest of Gaymon, has been able to manipulate the admissions process in a way to benefit Black applicants in multiple ways. One tactic involved evading restrictions on race-based data by using the applicant's school demographic data, with a focus on calling primarily minority schools a priority. This approach, as one source pointed out, would allow Verpil and Gaymon to prioritize students in Selma over those from Mountain Brook without overtly alluding to race. Gaymon referenced this strategy during a forum on how the university would implement the state's anti-DEI bill. As reported by the Plainsman, the same month as Verpil's PowerPoint presentation, Gaymon mentioned a program Auburn offers called Tiger Takeoff, which is a program that targets students throughout the state of Alabama coming from underrepresented areas. Images and videos posted by the university of the 2022 Tiger Takeoff event show that the overwhelming majority of participants were Black or otherwise known as African American. A lot of our recruitment initiatives are geared towards going after students within the state. As a land grant institution, we have a responsibility to enroll students from all corners of the state. And so if you think about it, areas that Auburn has under-enrolled are diverse communities within the state, Gaymon was reported to have said. When the university's Office of Inclusion and Diversity was disbanded, the Office of Admissions under Gaymon absorbed one of its staffers, Jawan Robinson, who had served as the OID liaison, that's the Office of Inclusion Diversity, liaison for the Tiger Takeoff program. The university, of course, was quick to respond to multiple 1819 News inquiries. There is no preference given in the admissions process for students who attend Tiger Takeoff, a program designed to attract high-achieving in-state students, an Auburn spokesman told 1819 News. In 2024, 55% of those who attended were admitted to the university. The average acceptance rate for in-state students was 62% for 2024. The spokesman added the 5-year-old program was first administered by the Office of Inclusion and Diversity. That office was dissolved in the summer of 2024 after the passage of the Alabama Act 2024-34, SB 129. For the past 2 years, the Office of Enrollment Management has administered the program. While the program has always been open to all in-state students, the Office of Enrollment Management has strived to ensure that students throughout the state and high school guidance counselors are aware of the free program and that any student is eligible to apply. I'm so happy I've aged out of all this crap. Really, I am. It's not the real world. Don't get me wrong. Great stuff goes on at Auburn University. But I don't know how bureaucratic. When did these places become so bureaucratic? Now, a second tactic involved prioritizing the treatment of Black applicants by manipulating their admissions type from score-based to test optional, which would enable students whose ACT scores would otherwise disqualify them to have that data taken into consideration. Neither of these practices would be evidence to administrators who are not overseeing the admissions department beyond Gaymon and Verpil. When asked for comment, the university responded, Auburn University does not consider race in its admission decisions and adheres strictly to all applicable state and federal laws. Admissions policies are designed to ensure that all applicants are evaluated fairly with a focus on academic rigor. Like other nationally ranked institutions, Auburn University attracts an applicant pool reflective of various backgrounds from the applicant pool. Only highly qualified students are admitted. Many who spoke with 1819 News said the human resources complaint process has been weaponized against those who have expressed concerns. In an interview, one source who spoke anonymously out of fear of retribution said a lot of people don't trust HR right now because they do seem to back up the admissions leadership. The Plainsman story detailed an account of 3 admissions staffers being placed on administrative leave due to an unfounded HR complaint during a critical time in the admissions process, leaving Verpil to fill their positions with less senior and less qualified staff. Multiple sources report that following those suspensions, the staffers were terrified of the consequences of speaking out. One lifetime member of the Alumni Association who spoke to 1819 News on the condition of anonymity had this message for the school president and the board of directors. We need to follow the laws. And if the laws are not being followed, we need to take action now. The alumnus went on to say, we don't need higher education to ignore the mood and direction of this country, especially at Auburn. Now, if that tickled your fancy or something like that, you can all go read it yourself. They're at 1819news.com. Great investigative reporting being done there by April Marie Fogel. I think some of y'all in the audience know that name. 272-9228. Again, if you want to get in on the conversation, that's 334-272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And they're at River Region Contracting. Todd Clark, that fantastic team he's put together. They're ready to help you with that roof of yours. You know, it's the foundation and it's the roof, like the two biggest things when it comes to your house. And, you know, given the elements that we face here in Alabama, especially these summer storms rolling through like a bat out of hell, it might be wise to get your roof checked on a regular basis. What, you going to climb up there yourself? What are you going to do when you get up there? What are you looking for? I think most people are going to be like, yeah, you're right. I'm not going to climb up there. If I got up there, I wouldn't know what to look for, and I don't know how I would get down. Well, don't worry. You can call up the professionals there at River Region Contracting. And if you want to make sure you catch problems early, why not get them to inspect that roof of yours on, say, an annual basis? And here's the great news. Their inspections at River Region Contracting, free. They're always free. And they'll write up estimates for free, say they do find an issue. They'll write that up, and then they'll know exactly what it's going to cost. You'll know. They'll fix the problem, show up on time, do it well. They'll sit down with you until you're satisfied that you understand what the problem is, how they're going to fix it. And the great news is they're also insurance specialists there at River Region Contracting, so they can walk you through that claims process, make it an easy and swift experience. So call them up today. That's River Region Contracting. They're not associated with any other roofing company in the area. They're the premier roofing contractor here in the River Region. That number, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd Clark and the team that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. Again, 272-9228. If you want to get in on the conversation, that's 334-272-9228. Seeing 1819 News just refreshed some of what they have going on there. And the lead story now is Tuberville and Moore. That's Tommy Tuberville and Barry Moore lead Alabama delegation on limited government ILA scorecard. The Institute for Legislative Analysis released its limited government index, in which U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville and U.S. Representative Barry Moore took first place in their respective legislative bodies. The ILA boasts its limited government index as the first national scorecard created with a philosophy based solely on the limited government principles of the U.S. Constitution. The ILA claims its scorecard contains 122 policy analyses and more unique sampling roll calls than the federal scorecards produced by over a dozen leading national advocacy groups. The ILA scorecard rates lawmakers with a percentage-based scoring, showing how limited government they are based on multiple factors. In the Senate scorecard, Tuberville scored a 91.58% limited government principle approach or something like that. He was for limited government 91.58% of the time, while Senator Katie Britt from the same report got a 67.86. Well, that just makes a heck of a lot of sense without their score even. It's almost like you could have guessed it. In the House, Moore leads the pack with a score of 91.75, even beating out Coach, followed by Dale Strong with an 83.59%. Representative Terry Sewell predictably had the lowest score of 4.66%, while Mike Rogers received the lowest Republican score in the House of Representatives with a 69. Nice. With both bodies taken as a whole, Moore narrowly beats Tuberville, while Britt earned the lowest score of any of Alabama's federal lawmakers for, again, limited government. I don't think it's going to hurt her re-election chances, though. That all depends on competition. That's many years down the road. We don't have to worry about that now. 272-9228 again, if you want to get in on the conversation. How about this? Let's hit a break. I'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome to Eclectic Coins, Montgomery's largest coin dealer, specializing in buying and selling investment-grade gold and silver coins. And they have a large selection of rare coins and coins from around the world. Visit them at 543 Northeastern Boulevard or on the web at eclecticcoins.com. Eclectic Coins, where collectors who know go.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriffsYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, you will immediately see the difference in pricing. Not only do we offer the most competitive rates, but our closing costs rank among the lowest in the industry. How do we do it? Because we can. We do not have the overhead that big banks and lenders do. Those big banks and lenders have big expenses. And what do? They pass those expenses along to you. Meanwhile, here at Alabama Home Mortgage, we receive wholesale rates which result in big savings that we pass along to you. Don't pay more for less. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our rates and pricing are just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-368, Equal Housing Lender.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you get a house full of carpet for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Our wetter than normal weather pattern continues for the next few days, really. Showers and thunderstorms well into the evening hours. They tend to fade out a little bit at night. Overnight low temperature in the low 70s. Tomorrow and Wednesday, back to 90 to 92 for high temperatures. And each day for the week ahead, showers and thunderstorms are most numerous in the afternoon and evening hours with local tropical downpours. Not much change through the end of the week. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At CB&S Bank, we've been meeting the needs of our customers since 1906. Need help setting up new business goals? Our line of commercial loans can help you achieve them. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Shifting gears here away from the latest headlines. Ran across an interesting breakdown of a study A new paper in Behavioral and Brain Sciences assesses the question that, well, stereotypes say it's women who care more about, say, relationships. But this time, the stereotypes are wrong, at least according to this paper. Researchers in the behavioral and brain sciences, well, they found that, among other things, men strive harder to establish romantic relationships, fall in love faster, benefit more from relationships, depend more on their relationship for social support, are less likely to initiate breakups, suffer more in the wake of a breakup, and take longer to get over their exes. Now, of course, this is probably on average. I want to see like the statistical breakdown. I'm sure there are guys who, you dirty dogs, you devils, who just go from one woman to the next and they don't give it. They don't care. They just keep on trucking. But, you know, I'd imagine there are also ladies who are kind of cold-blooded about this. But I wonder, like, how much more do men benefit from these things, from relationships, from the romance? Well, we have an example. Because, you know, guys like to think, oh, I'm a man, I can be independent. I'm on that kick now. It's like, yeah, I don't need no date. I can just keep on trucking by myself, get better, save money. My great-grandfather told me, Joe, stay away from women and save your money. I didn't listen to him for a while. Now that I'm staying away from the ladies, not like I had much success before, I am saving a good bit of money. But, you know, at the end of the day, it would be nice to have somebody, especially this one, depend more on their relationships for social support. Oh, ain't that the truth? I need to get out more. And I think the only way that's going to happen is like if some woman drags me to some stupid event, like all our friends will be there. Yeah, our friends, right. Right. No, it's just a bunch of guys who are being held hostage and they become friends out of necessity, which is still friendship. I get it. That said, with coverage of the No Kings protest going on around the nation, there was some aerial reporter. Now, what do you mean by aerial reporter? I mean a guy in a helicopter over the city of Angels. Well, he was caught on a hot mic talking about, well, his failed marriage. Maybe this backs up, it's just one data point, just one anecdote, but it backs up this new study. Let's listen in to this.
The answer is yes.
Oh, wow. I wonder what he was asked. I think he was asked, is he married? I think he's asked, is he married? And that initial sound says it all, doesn't it?
The answer is yes. You know what? I don't care. I don't care about I am married. I am legally married. I am legally married. That's about the only way you can really say it. I am legally married. But I am not looking at now at all. I just had a bunch of debacles with my personal life. Yes, it's true. I know. It's hard to believe. Somebody that doesn't even know what he's talking about in a relationship. And, you know. But, yeah, I got nothing right now. Got nothing. Not really looking.
I want to know what happened to this guy, because if you just read in between the lines, something big occurred.
You know, trying to find myself and be happy. I'm being serious about that.
Yeah.
I want to be beholden to no one at this moment.
That's what I'm talking about, brother.
You know, do I get lonely? Of course.
Yeah, of course.
But I got cats.
Oh, he's got cats. Okay, I don't have cats. But this desire to be beholden to nobody? Come on in, the water's fine. You don't want to live this way forever. But it sounds like that man went through some sort of fresh hell. And at this point, he's just like, I want to be alone. And plus, you know, he's got cats. Let's keep listening.
So,
Yeah? Is that it?
I think all that information's on the internet. Look at all those red cars down there.
So this guy is an aerial reporter in the helicopter. They're supposed to be covering the No Kings protest in Los Angeles. I think it was just a big old dud. It's like, oh, we all got out there and saw each other's faces. And it was very geriatric, very white. I mean, not completely. And, you know, people want to go out and protest. We don't want a king. Everybody's like, sure, we agree with you. What do you mean? Does a king mean a president you didn't vote for? Because then we're going to have kings. But if a king means a king, like a monarch, and are we talking about like a constitutional monarch? Or like where there's a process of picking them? Is it hereditary? Or is it more like the Louis XIV, like the Sun King, where it's absolute power? Like, what kind of king are we talking about here? What kind of king do you not want? Like, no kings? Well, we don't have that here. But it seems like that guy, as they're looking for stuff to report on from the sky, just kind of let his heart slip out a little bit. It's all right, dude. Come on in. The water's fine. Don't have to be beholden to anybody. Hang out with the cats. You know, read or write that novel you always been wanting to write. You know, just reset. You always got to wonder when you hear a man talk that way, especially so vaguely. What the heck happened at home, sir? What the heck happened? Again, 272-9228. You know, talking about a lonely guy for some reason makes me hungry. Actually doing this 2 hours something, 3 hours almost show makes me hungry. And that's why I'm thinking about our great sponsor, Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. And there at Smokehouse Pit Barbecue, you're going to get some of the, if not, it is. I'm being shy about it. They are the best barbecue around. Just go check them out. They're back to the original recipes. We had Celeste and Chris in here the other day. And man, they've got a meat and 3 daily for lunch. That's to die for. Classic meat and 3 with all the options that you're used to with something like that. And of course, around the weekend, they're open for dinner. And they've got fantastic selection, including on Friday, Saturday night. They're going to have entertainment. Of course, there's a bar, so enjoy yourself an adult beverage. Eat some delicious brisket or a great set of like spare ribs. Maybe you want some camp stew, a little beer. Enjoy the music, enjoy the fun, the fellowship. Smokehouse Pit Barbecue's got you right. And don't forget about Tuesday through Sunday. They have an amazing breakfast. You think barbecue place and breakfast? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. They open at 6:30. In fact, they might even get you a meal a little earlier. I think they show up at 5, but then, you know, they'll get it to you real quick once they officially open. But if you're, you know, more of an early riser, got to get to work early, they can still help you out. And that breakfast is unreal. Custom-made biscuits, breakfast sandwiches or a breakfast bowl, burritos, omelets, biscuits and gravy. You could even get like a fried bologna biscuit. That's what I mean by customized. Often I go with the Conecuh biscuit, a little bit of American cheese. Of course, you got to get those cheese grits. Correction, it's grit cheese. They put so much cheese in their cheese grits that you got to call it more grit cheese than cheese grits. And it is, I have no words. It's that good. I have no words. Get by there, try it out. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. You can look at the menu I'm looking at right now. That's why I'm getting so excited. SmokeHousePitBBQ.com, or just stop by. Same location they've always been all these years, Main Street there in Millbrook. And be sure to tell them that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you. Again, that's 272-9228 if you want to get into the closing moments of the show here. And other silly, stupid news, Joey Chestnut has struck a deal to return to Nathan's July 4th hot dog eating contest after being barred from the event. Joey Chestnut is back. The competitive eating superstar will take part in this year's Nathan's hot dog eating competition on Coney Island on July 4th after missing out on the event last year over a dispute related to a sponsorship deal Chestnut had with another hot dog brand. Well, that's just a shame. But he's back, baby. Major League Eating and Chestnut made the announcement. Wait, that's a league? Major League Eating is a league? I didn't know that. This is official. They made the announcement this morning a little less than a week after the Post confirmed the two sides have been in negotiations to have the biggest name in the eating world of sports, or the world of eating sports, or something like that, to return to one of its most prestigious, events. But I like this. We're going to get to see. Honestly, I watch this, though, and I'm a bit disgusted by the way they put down those hot dogs. Like, you're not even enjoying it. Why are you dipping it in water? I know there's a method to this madness, but all I see is the madness. Stop shoving wieners into your face that quickly. It's not good for you. Other strange news. Maybe this is fake. I don't know, but it got my attention on X. Somebody put out a confession saying, I've been attending interviews just to turn them down. So I kind of have a new hobby. I apply for jobs and attend interviews with no intention of taking the jobs. For the past 4 months, I've been applying for jobs on Indeed. I make up the qualifications they ask for, and on paper, I'm the perfect candidate. But in reality, I don't really exist. Why do I do this? Well, I like to dress up. And it feels like a real sense of occasion. I get to have a nice day out and visit new places. I go to the barbers to get a clean shave, grab breakfast and coffee. I feel great and look great. I walk into the interview room perfectly calm because I'm not worried about getting the job. And I completely flip the script. What benefits does the company provide? Why should I work there? How are you competitive to other businesses in the area? The reactions I get range from confusion to interviewers convincing me that I should work there. Confidence goes a long way. Now, I don't always have that. In fact, I often lack that sort of courage and confident look. But seriously, if you don't care about the outcome, that's a great way to grow some confidence. Amazing. I mean, you doing a little fake business? Nothing wrong with that. Tim Dillon taught us all that a few years back. And just going down the list here of just odd news stories that hit over the weekend that weren't about, bombs dropping in the Middle East. From the New York Post, scientists detect mysterious radio waves coming from beneath Antarctica's ice. A group of researchers in Antarctica have found strange radio waves coming from below the ice. According to the results published in the Physical Review letters, the mysterious radio airwaves were discovered by the Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, otherwise known as Anita. Sounds like somebody's ex-wife. During this experiment, the researchers analyzed signals traveling to Earth using a variety of instruments. Using balloons to send the instruments up high into the atmosphere, the goal was to gain new understandings of cosmic events throughout the universe. According to the release, the reason Antarctica was the site of these experiments was due to little to no interference from other radio waves. However, the researchers found radio waves transmitting from under the ice instead. So they were looking at the sky. They were looking at the broad, wide world of the universe, and something below was talking to them. Stephanie Whistle, associate professor of physics, astronomy, and astrophysics from Penn State, and one of the researchers discussed in a release by the college, revealed they discovered the radio waves while searching for a particle known as neutrinos. The radio waves that we detected were at really steep angles, like 30 degrees below the surface of the ice, Whistle said in the release. Whistle went on to explain that the radio waves could have been undetectable, or should have been undetectable. The waves would have had to go through thousands of kilometers of rock and would have been absorbed into the rocks. She also said in the release that the team of researchers had no answer about these neutrinos, about how these neutrinos were detected. According to Whistle, neutrinos are important to the understanding of the universe due to emitted by high energy sources and are typically hard to detect. She said that you could have 1 billion neutrinos passing through you at any moment, but they don't interact with you. So this is the double-edged sword problem. If we detect them, it means they have traveled all this way without interacting with anything else. We could be detecting a neutrino coming from the edge of the observable universe. Once discovered, these particles can reveal data and information about cosmic events that even the most powerful telescopes cannot. According to Whistle, Or is it Weissel? I don't know. Are we German? The balloon is sent up 40 kilometers or 29 miles above the ice to catch emissions signals. However, the researchers cross-referenced their findings with 2 other experiments and found that the results did not match up. This means that what they found were not neutrinos, but something else entirely. Wiesel said that there have been some theories that this could be dark matter, but it can't be confirmed and remains a mystery. My guess is that some interesting radio propagation effect occur near ice and also near the horizon that I don't fully understand, but we certainly explored several of those, and we haven't been able to find any of those yet either. So, killer headline. Not much follow-through, just a bunch of nerds playing with their toys. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
Hi, folks. This is Rick Clark with Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. I'd like to take just a minute to talk to you about our experience with Blue Water Broadcasting. One of the hot topics in our staff meetings is spending advertising dollars. If your company or firm is anything like Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, those dollars are limited, so you have to spend them wisely. That's why we choose Blue Water Broadcasting. Our marketing analysis has proven consistently that spending advertising dollars with Blue Water Broadcasting has contributed significantly to our bottom line. And for that, Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is truly grateful. So, if you want to spend your advertising dollars wisely, choose Blue Water Broadcasting and see the difference.
Blue Water Broadcasting is the #1 most listened to radio group in the River region. Find out how to put this reach to work for your business. Call us to find out how we can help. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
When you need a new door or window replaced, you want it done right. Someone who delivers expert craftsmanship every time, experience is a must. Listen, Davis Door and Sash. They can show you new doors and windows that can help you lower your utility bills and boost energy efficiency. Davis Door and Sash, Alabama.com or call 334-288-6010. Davis Door and Sash, the perfect fit for your home.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Bradville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
We are doing great. How about you guys?
Oh, life is good. I mean, you guys, Eddie hadn't been here all day. He's busy closing on real estate and stuff.
Well, I've not been listening because I have to go up to Huntsville, and I'm already coming back through Birmingham. I'm between Birmingham and Clanton right now, so it's not been too bad of a drive.
How is Hunt Vegas this time of the year?
It was just a blur. I went right through it about 90 miles an hour.
Well, at least you were there. You could say you were there.
I saw the rocket. Took a left right there, went out in the middle of the cornfield. Hey, let's talk about something real quick that I want to do. So we're the world's worst about not taking pictures of jobs completed. Because in reality, when we come in, we measure, we go over everything, we do the job, I never go back. So I never really get to see the completed project when it's done. Because most people are going to stop by the store and pay upon, once they're done, they come by and pay. We talk about it and head on their way. In saying that, I do a really bad job of getting pictures on Facebook for people to see.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd like to throw out here is an idea. And it don't have to, it could be something we did 5 years ago or 3 years ago. But if you have pictures of before and after of work we've done, and you're willing to put it on Facebook, tag Travel Carpet in it, and let us put it on our Facebook page. The first 30 people that do this, I'm going to give them a $50 gift card to Longhorn Steakhouse.
All right. I like this. So they just need to get in touch with you.
Just, if you do it, call the store and say, hey, I just tagged it, and get their name, leave their name and number because I'm not there right now, and I'll call you back. But first 30 people that do this will get a $50 gift card to Longhorn.
Folks, if you're a happy customer with Pryville Carpet and you got those before and after photos, we want to share them through Pryville Carpet. So call them up at 285-8117. And that's still the same number to call if folks want you to come out and work on their floors?
That's it. And Joey, don't go home and take a picture of your place and do AI.
That I'm not going to do that. That's, I mean, like, I'm like, you know, steak's good and all, but, you know.
So give us a call today, 285-8117. We'll come out and get you that new floor. All wood, vinyl plank, ceramic tile, bathrooms, kitchen, whatever you may need, we'll do it for you.
And be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with that Joey Clark fella.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it, Ray. Actually, steakhouse pretty good. You can get other things than just steak. Like usually the apps, like when I really want to be a fat boy, you just get like the appetizer special.
Are you going to add me on now so I can be included in this conversation?
Oh, hi. How are you?
Hi.
I already put up my...
I don't care. I stole the camera already.
But how you doing?
Good. I wanted to say they have amazing Brussels sprouts.
There you go.
They're the best thing on the menu.
I usually go with things that are fried.
I don't.
Yeah. I'm just that kind of guy.
The Brussels sprouts are awesome, though.
They are. They're all right. All right. I saw a video where it's bonobos. They taught to talk with people by pointing to things on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured out they were actually abstracting some things because they introduced new things they hadn't. And they described Brussels sprouts when they give them Brussels sprouts as trash lettuce. Yeah. So if they're cooked correctly,
than lettuce.
If they're cooked correctly,
It's
Brussels
even
sprouts are
better
great.
for you than lettuce.
Yeah, they are pretty good. They are pretty good. Did you see the Iranian state TV get bombed while they're doing the live broadcast?
I saw that.
It's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
And man, you don't want to be in that building when those things come flying down.
I just saw a meme earlier that said, I can't wait to be enlisted and then bombed by a $600 drone while I'm in line at Crumble Cookie at Al Udeed next year.
You never know. These new drones are kind of freaking me out. Like, these could be anywhere.
I know.
Like, as much as Mossad's like, look at how clever we are, I think everybody's learning from it.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh, I don't know about that. And that's really consuming most of the news.
Yeah.
Seriously is. I didn't see that new research. The stereotypes say that it's women who care more about relationships, but the stereotypes are wrong based on new research. On average, men actually are the ones that benefit. They fall head over heels quicker.
Yeah, I believe that.
They take longer to get over a breakup, and they don't want to break up.
Yes, I believe that. Men don't want to be alone.
Right. I was playing this sad sap who's an aerial reporter overseeing LA, and he was caught on hot mic. Somebody asked him if he was married, and it was a long, like,
oh gosh.
And he's like, I just don't want to, at this point, I don't want to, I'm technically legally married, but at this point, I'm not looking for anybody. I just don't want to be beholden to anybody. And, you know, sometimes I get lonely, but I got cats. Poor guy. I kind of feel for him. And anyway, anything y'all got special coming up for happy hour?
We're going to do the touring the Idiocracy with David Blackman. So we'll
Nice.
talk about Iran and No King's protests.
Did you see the lady get run over by a car?
No.
Yeah.
I figured that would happen, though. Where did it happen?
Yeah, I think it was in
California?
in Los Angeles. Yeah, we got time. Let me just pull this up real quick. because it's kind of a, I don't like violence, but sometimes it's like you're being a stupid baby. You kind of deserve what you get. If you if you jump in front of a car that has other people beating on the windows, you might get run over.
I had somebody stop. You know how people will have like flyers in the middle of the median or whatever between stoplights?
Yeah.
And I had a guy put one at my window today, and he didn't touch my car until I was like, no. And I was kind of snarky about it because I was like, get out of my window. And he hit my car with the flyer. I almost rolled down my window. And then I was like, hold on. Pick your battles.
Well, here's the moment.
Stay in your lane.
If you're this driver, would you have done this?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's enough people around the vehicle. Yep.
Yeah, and she doesn't seem like the most athletic lady. Let's see it again. Oh, rolls off the car, front wheel right over the leg.
Woo.
And the bleeps there because I don't know. I imagine you're just saying, fudge!
Yeah, big time. Oh
don't jump on somebody's hood.
Don't. What are you thinking?
I'm fighting for justice. No kings. I'm just like the Republicans.
We still don't have a king.
In the glorious revolution.
Thank
Anyway,
goodness.
I got to get out of here. Y'all stay tuned. Happy hour. They're next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Kusai.